It's a little weird. Yeah, that's for my normal head. Okay. So let me know if you got footage going and stuff. Just checking, make sure it's good.
It's me, Boomstick, and it's time for a death battle!
Can you hear it or no?
Yeah.
All right, so for quick context, for those of you who are unfamiliar, for the past season of Death Battle, we've been reacting to the Death Battle as it comes out the day of. For this one in particular, Mangler and Kyle both wanted to discuss the Death Battle more because Mangler's a big Halo guy and Kyle just went through Doom. But Kyle, in a rather totally unprofessional way, is currently not here, so it's just me and Mangler. Say hi, Mangler.
Yes.
Right.
I've also gone through all the Doom games at this point. I didn't finish going through Doom 64, but I've seen cutscenes of it. I've played through the entirety of Doom Eternal and Doom 2016 more than twice at this point, as well as the Eternal Gods DLC. It's just I'm a little rusty on my knowledge on that, but whenever someone provides a scan, I am immediately familiarized. So assuming Death Battle provides any of the sources from those games, I'll be able to identify where they come from.
We'll just have the camera up so that way there's something on the screen besides Death Battle. Hello, Triple. Hello, Minato. Yep. So we're gonna watch it, see how it goes. I think for this go around, they say hello, Mangler. So I think for this go around, we're just gonna watch it all the way through, unless Mangler really wants to talk about something, because I don't know if Kyle's gonna show up at any point during the stream.
We'll just do what we did last time with the Azura thing, where we'll go through, maybe make minor comments, but we're not going to stop it. Not really. And then second run through, we'll do it at normal.
That ain't me. That's the brand new Boomstick YouTube.
Wait, do we want to do it at 1.25 speed?
Yeah, that's fine.
Faster.
We can do 1.5 actually, because we'll be going back through it.
Thing, so move your butts and get it like Doom. He's where's my Boomstick, and it's our job.
Oh no, yeah, it's a little too fast. There you go.
To analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
All right.
Born in the distant year of 2511, John grew up in a normal space colony many light years from Earth. However, John was anything but normal. He was different from the other boys. Taller, stronger, meaner. Which is why the brilliant Dr. Halsey chose him for
Is
her
that like
great
a fan
experiment,
animation, or is that like an actual animation?
Well, he wasn't just chosen, he was kidnapped.
So hang on.
Dying clothes, so nobody would know.
Go back, I looked away.
Space Command as John 117. He was only 6 years old. He wasn't the only one. Him and 74 other kids got shoved into the deadliest summer camp ever, going through intense training to be molded into child soldiers. Because you can't spell infantry without infant. The training tore away John's identity.
Don't expect a lot of common stuff for either, by the way.
He couldn't even remember his full name.
Because Doom doesn't really...
All that mattered was the game.
Doom doesn't really have that much cosmic stuff outside technology.
All sorts of military history, tactics, leadership, and best of all, weapons.
He was
finally prepared for the
Halo doesn't either, technically. The Forerunners do, but Master Chief himself does
half
not.
of his peers did not survive, and even more were left permanently disfigured. Yeah, he's got this. How bad could it be? The biochemical and biomechanical process was extraordinary. Hormones and protein complexes boosted his muscle growth to an inhuman scale. His senses were surgically enhanced, wiring his brain and capillaries. Carbide ceramic was grafted to his skeleton to make his bones nearly unbreakable. His nervous system was literally shocked into reacting 300% faster at all times. And with a little luck, John was torn apart.
I think you've mentioned the Fall of Reach a little weird nowadays as a Halo source of knowledge. Gross. Ads.
Stuff, but you can't argue with the results. And it wasn't long before he earned the rank of Master Chief Petty Officer. Time to fight some
To be honest, this is a matchup where you expect you're more... Isn't that the TV show?
Can fire 650
I'm surprised they actually were allowed the TV show.
Is nicknamed the Spartan Laser for a reason and can blow up tanks with a
Master Chief does upgrade his armor in the lore and story, yes.
And if you're lucky...
Oh, they're giving him Forerunner weapons? Oh, that's interesting.
Is John a jumping feature?
Oh yeah, I didn't see that. I missed a lot of that.
Well, yeah, we'll go back to it afterwards. But if they give him forward weapons, I'm pretty sure it's just GG
Plus, he's picked up
for
a number of
Chief.
enemy weapons over the years. The Covenant's charging plasma pistol.
I don't-
Why is there an echo?
Whole new strategies to Master Chief's combat style.
Because one's
And
probably the
weapons from the
stream, the
banished-
other one's probably me talking in person. Mute the stream on YouTube if you have it open on YouTube. Watch the stream on Discord.
No, I'm hearing it through your end.
No, there's not an echo on my end. Hello, Kurt Russell Garcia. You're new here. That's weird.
Oh.
Let me lower you a little bit. All right, there we go.
I notified the regulars and everyone.
Kind of hardcore. Unless he finds the energy sword or gravity hammer first, then he's gonna jump in swinging.
Was that
Come on,
Griffball?
you know everyone goes for the sword.
The
Out of the
peak
135
gameplay?
plus weapons he's carried, the tech of the Forerunners may be his most impressive find. Ionized particle weapons, slip space portal generators, and shields made of extremely durable hard light. In fact, when tapping into a Forerunner ship he was on, a massive amount of that very hard light formed a shield strong enough to save him from a point-blank 30-megaton nuclear warhead. It annihilated a whole starship, and Chief
Yeah,
was
that's
just
pretty chill.
fine, floating around in space like he's
Como
chilling at the
tú estás,
pool.
Guillermo?
I guess it helps that he's wearing armor so badass it's named after Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. Well, the Mjolnir armor improves his strength and speed even more. Has
Okay,
energy
so they're
shields
giving
to
him the
block incoming
weapon
fire,
and
fills his
Cortana?
wounds with
That's a little
medical
silly.
biofoam. He's got a grappling hook, because who doesn't? And thrusters, so he can fly. Well, kind of. Spartans in armor have dodged laser fire from the Type 50 beam rifle, and Master Chief has pushed himself to run 66 miles per hour, matching the top speed of a cheetah. And he's strong enough to flip the 66-ton scorpion tank, and even an elephant. What? Why would he throw an elephant? No, Wiz, not the animal, though he could definitely suplex the hell out of one of those if he wanted to. I'm talking about that behemoth of a mega truck that moves like 2 miles an hour. Even the game wonders how Chief can flip that 200-ton beast.
Wait. Okay, I am actually gonna. I'm gonna pause that there for a second because I know.
No, hang on. We can address that later when we get rid of the echo and we come back.
Okay.
I know what you have a problem with. I know.
Okay.
I do too.
It's just standard death balance. They can't get simple things right, and I know that sounds kind of like rude, but fuck me, that's crazy.
The moment we all realized just how tough this guy really is, tough enough to end the war with the alien covenant almost single-handedly. He was so scary, the aliens even started calling him the Demon. You'd think he would still be a petty officer after that. If anyone deserves a raise,
talk to me now in your room,
Master Chief Petty
because it's not. I'm in my room at night, and Mangler can't really do nighttime shenanigans.
Makes sense. And he wasn't totally
Devil's
alone
not
in this.
around
He had the
either.
help
He's
of
too
an
busy being a father.
onboard artificial intelligence system based on the mind.
Yeah, how dare you.
Herself, Cortana. God, everything comes with AI these days. This one's different though. Or wait, maybe not. Is anyone horny for Alexa? Cortana can hack other AIs, even those designed by far more advanced civilizations. She is constantly tracking enemies, can guide large-scale battles, and even process the entirety of human knowledge in less than 2 hours. ChatGPT could never. I mean, Chief isn't too far from an emotionless robot himself. How's he made him like that? Sort of. He's a force to be reckoned with, but John lost a lot of himself along the way. As luck would have it, and John is quite
Doomslayer
lucky,
is heavily carried by
Cortana proved
lore.
herself a dear
We'll see
friend.
about that. I've
Even
heard
when
this
she
one's
started
not
the villain
really
arc
using too
and
much lore for
exploded.
Doomslayer.
But it's okay, he just got a new one. Kind of ironic how the artificial...
Does he mean for this death battle or just in general?
I think in general, but I think this death battle avoids lore scaling for Doomslayer.
In general, he is carried, but we'll see how he did, because they hardly used any research for the first matchup for either character.
As demons swarmed the Martian moon of Phobos, only one man survived to tell the tale and push the demons back to the pits of hell. He was a space
I have no
marine
closed
until
caption
he refused an order to
for
fire
this
up.
video.
Do you want closed caption? Can you even read? Doomslayer, let's go.
Civilians. He was an engineer until his
There we
base
go.
was overrun by demons.
I can.
He owned a cute pet rabbit named Daisy until those
No,
demons
I mean,
murdered her, pissing him
I'm
off
fairly
so much
positive
even
that
the Pope
they
would be
give
jealous.
Doomslayer the win
This
on this
impossible
one. I
man
haven't
was
seen
known
it,
as,
but,
well, nobody
this is
really
the
knows.
popular
He's a mystery,
choice.
a symbol of both death and hope. So we just call him Doom Guy. Oh yeah, there's a reason why my leg is the same super shotgun he's got. And now you can get your own super shotgun on me, where it belongs. What is that? My U2, stupid. It's
Seriously?
just like me, except 8.2 times more huggable. Because the shotgun doesn't.
Are they really, like,
old-fashioned running
doing merchandise right now?
Well, they're at the beginning, but I guess they do it in the middle of the video too.
rifles, shotguns, flamethrowers, plasma guns, rocket launchers, chainsaws, and a frankly terrifying-looking grappling hook. The Unmaker is a celestial
I didn't know Master
supergun,
Chief had all
shooting
this
beams
lore.
of
I thought
light
Chief
that
There's just some dude in the suit. Triple, you have no idea what Halo has to offer.
BFG 9000. Don't sugarcoat it, Wiz. That's the big fucking gun. A single plasma shot from this beauty can annihilate everything in front of Doom Guy instantly. It's like a handheld mini atom bomb launcher. It's also the power source for the BFG 10,000, a massive weapons platform that blasted a hole through Mars. And so, Doom Guy discovered his life's mission: to kill every demon, ever. No, really, he is absolutely obsessed with slaughtering demons, like an addict. And look at him go! Oh yeah, that's addictive. He killed demons on Phobos. He killed demons on Deimos. He killed demons on Earth. He even killed demons in Hell. The sheer scale of demonic violence
this month technically, because it's May.
He got some time to himself to grind some rails, chill with Isabel, and visit the faraway world of Argent to Nerve. Well,
I'll be able to play it
about
because I
10
have
seconds before he was thrown into a
Game
Pass.
Pass.
Naturally, he was the best fighter there. He even joined and trained with the Night Sentinels, an elite fighting force.
Fun.
And then Hell showed up on that planet too. Man, my guy really can't catch a break, can he? While most people would be terrified of demons showing up to murder them, something had shifted. Doom Guy wasn't scared of the demons. The demons were scared of him. Hellwalker, they called him. The Beast, the Unchained Predator. But his time with the Night Sentinels solidified a new moniker, one that would strike terror throughout the Dark Realm. Doom Slayer. Imagine being those demons, excited to invade a whole new world far away from that helmeted freak who killed you last time, just to stumble onto him all over again. I'd be scared too. The Slayer is like a fusion dance of Jason.
I think we're better off
with
with characters that basically did the same thing.
Kill demons. But my fave is the blazing sword called the Crucible. The Crucible is powered by Argent energy, sort of like a fuel for hell.
I probably shouldn't be using footage from Dark Ages.
8 months. Granted, much of Earth had been decimated at that point, but it's future technology, so it probably evens out. By taking the average annual consumption of Earth and narrowing it down to 2/3, given the 8 months time, thereby multiplying it by 0.666, outfitting, we can conclude that the Crucible's full charge outputs over 53 quadrillion joules of energy, giving an output of approximately 157 trillion kilowatt hours. Yeah, big number, that's nice, but the Slayer just uses the Crucible to blow shit up. Even without it, he can fight specters, which are totally invisible to most people. He's strong enough to knock around these enormous steel blocks like nothing, and can even take down titans with his bare hands.
They already made some mistakes right there.
Oh, is this guy even human? Those on Earth might not think so. He's not just a hero of the people. Some believe he's more. Like a religion, like a god. Well, hang on. We know he's human because we know his ancestry. Doom Guy is the great-grandson of B.J. Blazkowicz from the Wolfenstein games, which means Doom Guy's father is the one and only Commander Keen. I don't know. That just makes him even more mysterious. Regardless, the Slayer has plenty of upgrades, power-ups, and rune enhancements that make him seem superhuman, like speeding up his perception of time, turning partially invisible, or even becoming completely invulnerable for 30 seconds. But don't get it wrong, the Slayer is not invincible. While his rage makes him an unstoppable force of fury, it consumes him. He's less a precise weapon and more like setting loose a bull in a china shop, if the bull was also strapped to 8 swinging wrecking balls and a rocket-powered steamroller. The Praetor suit may be an ancient relic, but it's also the most advanced set of armor in the universe and totally indestructible. Oh, and Assassin's Creed guy wishes he had a wrist knife as epic as the Doom Blade. Back in his Doom Guy days, he relied on mega armor that could half all damage. Now,
I can tell they spent most of this time on Doom Guy.
The same energy that powers the Crucible. He can even tank actual meteors. Or he'll just dodge the meteors, because he's fast enough to outrun rockets from a rocket.
I just find that to be questionable when Master Chief has like 5 times the amount of lore.
This might be a feats versus statement situation.
It was not originally designed for combat scenarios. It is
that too, but for Master Chief.
Even create portals to alternate dimensions.
He has more feats and he has more statements.
It's like delivery, but for demons. Of course, that
he has more of
everything,
everything, honestly.
To chainsaw them all in half. And time works differently in Hell. The Slayer may technically be human, but
I get what you mean.
Evolved him, turning him into something more. And then he was literally blessed with immortality. Yeah, he can still technically die, but he no longer ages. So he's been killing demons for dozens, no hundreds, no thousands of years. However, it turns out the Slayer was all part of a grander story. For Vega was actually the remnant of an ancient god. God is an AI? Okay, the inevitable robot takeover is gonna go way harder than I thought. And Vega's ultimate enemy was the Dark Lord of Hell. He has many names: Davoth, Satan, the Devil, the true first being who created all of existence. But he's the master of all demons, the most demon-y demon of demons. And we all know what the Slayer does to demons. Say it with me now. Rip and tear!
That boss fight was stupid, because it should have been
why does the devil look like the
Doom
Doom Slayer?
Slayer.
I think he wanted to take a form known for pure destruction. You see, Doom is in many ways a surreal postmodern story that is up to the player's interpretation. Right.
Also, killing evil wannabe Doom guy in a mech suit from hell is just badass.
The Doomslayer had fulfilled his purpose. He'd slain the
People say Doom guy from the first Doom game sucked masterpiece. They're objectively wrong.
And so,
But they're allowed
like
to have their
ancient weapon
opinion.
of prophecy, the Slayer was sealed away, ready to awaken at humanity's call when the fires open again.
All hail the Slayer. The
Master Chief has better
He is more than a
AP,
man.
durability,
He is
speed,
Doom.
just skill and weapons.
All right, the
He's better than
commencement
every
are set. We've
category.
run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for...
Around the corner. Be ready.
Okay, more advertisements.
Say rip and
Combat will
tear.
likely be necessary.
Well, isn't he astute?
Alert. Portal detected.
It's a random brute shot sitting on the
Brings a
ground.
chainsaw to a gunfight.
Toyota's actually pretty good.
Maybe just because we're watching it 25% the speed. Wow, this is
true,
pretty fast.
actually. Yeah, that's why it's snappier.
Chief, watch your six.
Maybe it's better that we didn't watch it at normal speed.
Yeah, it's just a lot snappier in 125. Also, I'm pretty sure the energy sword wouldn't be blocked by Doomslayer's armor. At least not like that.
Yeah. Traumatized, kidnapped orphan versus galactic omniversal threat. Only in people's dreams.
What the hell just
Did they
happened?
put trumpet horns on that Revenant's shoulders?
Yeah.
I'll
Those
see
were
what I
not
can do about that
rockets.
annoying AI.
Do it. I'll finish this fight. I can no longer detect the enemy. Systems complete.
Player speed fast? Was that a statement or a question? Garcia.
The famous rocket grab.
Oh yes, I remember
How I
that.
feel about gameplay versus lore sometimes.
I remember that that mechanic of Doomslayer being able to grab rockets and throw them back at people. One of the most peak mechanics of all time. Oh no. He's in the Halo 2 pose. So how are you guys doing while we wait for Zim to get back? He has engaged in what is known as family affairs. Hello, BP man.
Man, haces una cosa tan grande,
I'm
tan
good
grande
for us,
de tan
yes.
chiquita.
You guys watch the analysis for both characters? We did.
¿Cuán pinche raza? ¿Tú crees que así?
We only skipped the commercials, I think, or basically any of the advertising that happened in the middle. Actually, I make like, it's alright. We can tell from he forgot to mute. Yeah, he did forget to
I
mute.
didn't forget to mute. I don't give a fuck what you guys hear. Continue.
Never mind.
Come on, come check out the last tell you. Nah, we're already know. I thought it could be more brutal, to be honest.
Hey-o! And lo! Our avenging angel has triumphed, for he is Doom! Amen.
There's a lot going on here, so let's break this down, starting with physical stats. Being a genetically enhanced super soldier, you'd probably expect a Master Chief to take the edge here.
Wrong! Chief can outrun a cheetah moving 66 miles per hour. The Slayer can outrun a rocket zooming almost 8 times faster.
Master Chief can flip the 200-ton elephant platform. The Slayer can fling around these massive steel cubes, which each measure to over 400 tons.
He can take down Titans with his bare hands, so it adds up. If this came down to a fistfight, he'd just punch Chief's head off.
Stats may go to the Doom Slayer, but Master Chief has one.
We're gonna
Slayer
go back
feat
through
his
this
AI.
again
Yeah,
as we do. This is the first watch. We're just because we haven't seen it before.
Computer pal.
Cortana was designed for combat encounters and battle planning. Vega oversaw a mining facility. Granted, Vega's nothing to laugh at, but Cortana's kind of famous for hacking ancient, all-knowing technology on multiple occasions. And even if you want to argue Chief should have the weapon instead, she's still a copy of Cortana.
And when it comes to experience, Chief likely has more consistent training. Becoming a super soldier and one-man army is basically all he did since he was a child.
The Slayer may seem like a rampaging bull consumed by rage, and he is, but he was also a Marine and trained with the Night Sentinels.
And since time in hell gets wacky, he fought demons non-stop for thousands of years.
Given the sheer variety of enemies, battles, and wars Master Chief has experienced, it's a tough call, but we think fighting demons for so long tips the scale to the Slayer.
Not that it matters much, because we're on to the last and best category, arsenals. From weapons to power-ups, both Chief and the Slayer had a ton of stuff they could bring into the battle.
Both had means to turn invisible or shield themselves from damage. Both had suits that could withstand extreme heat and intense hits. And both had so many weapons.
Technically, Master Chief had a greater variety of weaponry, but when it comes to sheer destructive power, the Slayer had him beat. The Unmaker can match the Spartan Laser's light speed without having to worry about charging up, and nothing on Chief's belt can match the raw power of the BFG.
Still, Master Chief did use a hard light shield to survive a point-blank 30-megaton bomb. However, Cortana was siphoning power from the Forerunner ship they were on to make that shield, so it was a very specific circumstance not easily replicated. And it's clear that without the shield, he would have been obliterated.
Even if he could replicate it, this guy had the weaponry to break
Oh,
through.
there's so
Take
many
the
problems
Crucible.
with what they did
the
here.
Crucible holds power equivalent to 157 trillion kilowatt hours, which
I was
directly
gonna say what you're
converts
saying
to
anyways,
90 gigatons of TNT.
I think I showed up
Even
on
if
this
you divide that power
list.
between the Crucible's
He was doing when he was getting slayed.
sword is, at minimum, 1,000 times more powerful than that nuke. The Slayer gets the final nail in Arsenal, as he just had the better odds of actually taking the Chief down.
As much as Chief tried to master the situation, he was doomed. Slay King!
The winner is the Doom Slayer.
Amen. Next time on Death Battle.
All right, we can go back to the beginning now, because I'm pretty sure this part doesn't matter. But if you want to continue,
Battles
yeah.
Next time, DC. Oh yeah, it's Simon versus Kyle Rayner. Yeah, none of us care about that one, unfortunately. All right. So,
Year of 2511, John grew up
Right.
in a normal space.
Is there any way-
years from Earth. However,
Is there any way I can somehow? Sorry, I need a way to watch this that is like consistent. Oh wait, maybe it's the sensitivity settings. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
However, John was anything but normal,
He was different from the other boys. Taller, stronger, meaner.
which is why the brilliant Dr. Halsey chose him for her great experiment, the Spartan 2 program.
Well, he wasn't just chosen, he was kidnapped. Replaced by a dying clone so nobody would know.
Newly conscripted into the
yeah.
United Nations Space Command as John 117, he was only 6 years old.
He wasn't the only one. Him and Sep.
Anything you want to touch on here?
Nothing here that's particularly crazy. No.
Damn crickets to my
and
joke,
look-
boo-hoo. I guess Chief was doomed when he was getting slayed. Yeah, I didn't even hear that. I'm sorry, I'm eating food on the side. Sauerkraut showed up.
Sorry, Triple. I just got here, but does Halo not even scale that high for this fight to be fair? No, it does. It has a bigger cosmology, and as far as actual feats and statements are concerned, Doomslayer scales way, way lower than he would need to be to actually beat Chief in a fight. He's way slower in terms of speed, and he does not have the arsenal needed to kill Chief. Like, physically speaking, yes, but like not in terms of his actual weapons and guns. And Chief has the weapons needed to kill him, but I'm going to get into that when we get to the actual
54 other
thing.
kids got shoved into the deadliest summer camp ever, going through intense training to be molded into child soldiers. Because you can't spell infantry without infant.
The training tore away John's identity. He couldn't remember his family. He couldn't remember his home. He couldn't even remember his full name. All that mattered
fun fact,
was the
Spartans
game,
were not
the mission.
actually
And boy,
created
was
for the
he
fight
good at
government.
it,
They were
learning
created
all
to fight
sorts of
the
military
insurrection.
history, tactics, leadership, and best of all,
Yeah, that thing that we
8
never
years
know
later,
anything
he was
about
finally prepared
except
for the
through
augmentation
guides.
process that would make
Yeah,
him superhuman.
wonderful.
Augmentation, which
Next
almost
time
half
we
of his
were
peers
Simon
did not
Digger. I
survive,
don't care
and
about
even
that match,
more
but
were
we'll
left
still watch
permanently
it.
disfigured.
Hey, he's got this. How bad could it be?
The biochemical and biomechanical
Oh, good
process
shit
was
to know, bro. I always learn
extraordinary.
something new from
Hormones
Angler
and
Exam.
protein
Oh, you're gonna
complexes
learn a
boosted
lot
his muscle growth to
in
an
this step
inhuman
battle.
scale. His
Trust
senses
me.
were surgically enhanced by rewiring.
All right, what is this thing?
Master Chief was further genetically enhanced by Librarian's gene song, giving him immunity to digitizing weapons like the Composer.
Yes, however, that's not all it does. It specifically gives him other advancements to his evolutionary changes because it's it is a gauge technically. So a gauge is a genetic protocol that is put into the DNA of various organisms by forerunners whenever they need them to follow a path through living time itself. Living time being the actual sentient timeline of the universe and all of the different ways in which it unravels people's fates. That is what a gauge does. And Master Chief not only has a gauge that compels him to move towards a certain set of decisions, very specific humans have gauges implanted within their genetic protocol. So Master Chief is not only probably dictated to do certain things, he is actually fated to do so.
Oh, fantastic. He showed up right on time. All right.
What just happened?
You impatient fucks!
No,
I told you what time I would be back.
No,
You're
no,
like 2
no.
hours.
So what we agreed upon was the agreed upon time, and you failed to meet that time.
Up! I told you an hour to an hour 20. I was an
No,
hour.
no,
Okay, hold on.
no.
Hold on.
Prior to, we agreed to a specific time, and then
No.
you said the day of.
I told you I would be X.
Okay,
No, I didn't.
Hold on. Kyle.
You literally did.
Kyle, if it makes you feel any better, we just watched the video. We're going back through and going through everything. So you made it at the right time. Me and Mangler have watched the whole death battle. Now we're going through all the information.
There, square. I'm not allowed to wait on pins and needles for fucking people. I don't do that shit.
I do it for fun.
What else do you want to say, Kyle?
You all the time. You do it, you impatient fuck.
I'm not impatient. I wasn't even going to show up at all. What are you talking about?
All right, Kyle, you want to hop on the Discord stream so you can see where we're at? We're currently in Halo right now.
Yeah, fucking shut up, man, because you know I do that for you all the time. I do it for the both of you. I do it for all of you. I'm so selfless. You have no fucking idea.
Okay, hold on. You are not selfless. Fuck out of here.
That was
I am
not
the most
selfless. Listen, if you
I
couldn't
am
make
the
it, that'd be fine.
I am the best selfless.
You're not our
I
president.
never claimed to be the most selfless, but I definitely don't show up late to our shit.
Gun's taking off. Don't worry, Gun should still be on later. All right. So Kyle, live on time, we're reacting. No. So behind the scenes, Kyle had some car issues, and that's why he's late. But all right, Kyle, you on?
Perfectly understandable. Happens to everybody.
I told you fucking not be available, but no.
All right. Well, let's go and continue. We're currently in Halo. Don't worry.
His brain and capillaries. Carbide ceramic was grafted to his skeleton to make his bones nearly unbreakable. His nervous system was literally shocked into reacting 300% faster at all times.
So this is yet another example of they don't seem to understand that there are statements that are presented about the augmentation process, but you have to go through the novels to see what he actually does, because there are feats and things that he does that are way beyond what the augmentation process is intended to replicate, because they can, if you assume he's just 300% faster, you would only assume he's capable of perceiving things 3 times faster than humans. But he can react to bullets and things way faster than bullets, and even particle beams, which are much faster than 3 times the human brain.
Which are technically light speed to relativistic.
Yeah, I would say they're relativistic in the sense that they're technically Because they're particle beams, they'd be like 10% to like a fraction of it, but the way he's reacting to them grants him FTL. I should have caught a ride with Kangaroo Jack. Impossible. Kangaroo Jack would have taken his money.
Oh my spot. It's on my spot.
All right, moving on.
And with a little luck, Jean was torn apart and rebuilt as something new.
A Spartan! Hey, the process is messed up, but you can't argue with the results. And it wasn't long before he earned the rank of Master Chief Petty Officer. Time to fight some crazy aliens!
And he has the gear to
For some
take on
reason,
the
you're
whole
getting some reverb.
army by himself.
So I'm not the only one who's getting the reverb. Yeah, that's what I said, Zim. There was a reverb.
Well, I can't help it.
There's the reverb.
I can't help it. That's what happens. Let me lower the video a little bit, see if that fixes it. Oh, hello,
Is that picking up
945.
Is the video picking up your mic?
Yeah,
I think it might be picking up his thing.
that's probably what's going on. I need to buy a proper mic for my laptop. I've been like blowing it off for too long.
I come in peace. I am Net945. Hello,
Nice to meet you.
Net945. I don't know what that means.
He's show up on streams every now and again. Hasn't been here in a while.
That is a lot of weapons that they're giving him. Like, are they just claiming he has like dimensional storage at this point? Like, I don't think he can. The most you can grant him is like 2 weapons on the back, 1 weapon in his hands, and like 2.
I think the way they justify it. I think the way they're justifying it is whatever he picks up during the games.
Sure. I guess. Wait. Where's the Forerunner weaponry?
Forerunner weaponry is on the next slide. So, are we gonna touch on anything here? We're just going to the next slide.
Let's see. Railgun. This. He should have a station. Oh wait, he has a Gauss cannon. Yeah, they labeled that wrong. There should be a station. Good so far. Wait. No, he needs shock rifles as well. And then a few other things. Shock rifles and not pulse carbine, disruptors, that as well. So that should have been included.
Alright. Anything for the Covenant Banish weaponry?
No, that was the Covenant Banish weaponry.
Alright, now we have Forerunner weaponry. And whatever the fuck legendary weapons are.
Let's see, light rifle, bolt shot, suppressor, scatter shot, incineration cannon, binary rifle, cinder shot, heat wave. Also sentinel beams, dynamo grenades, plasma grenades, pulse grenades, splinter grenades, frag grenades. Oh, okay, arcane sentinel. Why do they see legendary weapons? Oh, wait. We're giving him legendary weaponry?
Oh, yeah.
Hold up. Okay, that's different then. Okay, so for context, in Halo 5, they basically expanded the roster of like weapons in the actual series by giving a bunch of descriptions to all the epic, common, legendary, and stuff weapons, and made them canon things. So if you give him those legendaries, then he technically gets like half a dozen different ones, because there's also ones that you can pick up during Halo 5, which includes things like the Answer, which is basically a saw that fires armor-piercing, like, explosive, shield-breaking rounds. And stuff like that. So he should have a lot more weapons then. I did not know about that.
Okay, so hold on. Just to clarify, what exactly are legendary weapons? Are they just weapons you pick up in the game that are unique,
in Halo 5 they can be. They're in the campaign in various sections that you have to go look for, but they're also in the multiplayer. It's just the multiplayer gives them an official description that confirms they're in like the world, because some of them, for example, are like trademark weapons of like the Arbiter. Or like you can get like Linda sniper rifle, Kelly shotgun, George's machine gun, one of the Didex rifles. Those are their canon descriptions. So it kind of matters if you give him like the Vorpal Talon, because I'm pretty sure that thing is the Arbiter's sword. So at that point, I would just say, fuck it. You kind of need to give him Blue Team's weapons. Like, give him Nordfang.
Doom may be a lot stronger, but Chief is a lot faster and has tons of weapons to take down Durineg Doom. We'll get to that. Death Battle has their own calculations, so we'll get to that. It's all right. Moving
Oh,
on.
actually, we'll get to it. But how did you boys like that really weak fucking analysis at the end?
The analysis fucking blew. The flip was nice though, but we were watching it on 1.5 speed or 1.25.
I think at 1.25 speed, it looks really good. Like, that fight actually looks really good. I like the choreography. Wait, we're giving him vehicles, Kestrel, Chopper, Ghost, Ward. Well, no. At that point, no. If you're going to give him that, you basically give him every single Halo vehicle.
Where's the Hornet at?
No, I was gonna say, like, if they didn't even give him every UNSC weapon. If you just gave him UNSC vehicles, I'd be fine with that. But if you gave him banished vehicles, no, he gets everything. Then he gets everything.
Does he have the Banshee?
Does he have what?
Nope.
Does he have the Banshee?
Nope.
Nope. The Banshee's not there.
So hold on.
Neither's the Phaeton.
Hold on. Let me get this straight. We give
He
him
gets the
all these
fucking
vehicles, all these weapons and everything, but I'm hearing concession that Doom Guy can't deal with the Hornet. Concession accepted.
That was your takeaway? He couldn't deal with the Hornet?
100%. Doesn't Doom have to live under a lower dimensional manifestation in actual 5D? Chief should win this, no. 5D Doom's complicated, but we'll save that for the Doom section, even though they don't actually talk about the cosmology.
No, it's not.
It's not complicated.
It's really not that complicated at all. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's a fraudulent claim, unfortunately.
Co-hosts here can go fuck themselves and wait till the Doom section.
You're two co-hosts.
Well, you know what?
Going to the game.
You know what, Mangler?
Say that.
You know what, Mangler? Our co-host here can go fuck himself because he hasn't been through Doom.
I agree. I vote for this section. This section.
That's wrong. I played Doom 2016 on stream, and I also beat Doom Eternal off stream. I don't remember.
No, the closest you've gotten to doing anything Doom related is you watched the fucking movie.
No, I actually played 2016 on stream. I
So
that game.
We should probably continue because I don't remember what else they said about Chief's section after his weapons.
Yeah, let's continue.
But I think they said some
A
nonsense.
number of enemy weapons over the years. The Covenant's charging plasma pistol, homing needler, and sticky plasma grenades add whole new strategies to Master Chief's combat style. And the weapons from the Banished basically shoot big, scary spikes at people. Kind of hardcore.
Unless he finds the energy sword or gravity hammer first, then he's gonna jump in swimming.
Reaper's real.
You know everyone goes for the sword.
Out of the 135 plus weapons he's carried, the tech of the Forerunners may be his most impressive find. Ionized particle weapons, slip
Okay, just keep going.
Alright.
space portal
Ionized particle
and
weapons,
shields made
slip
of
space
extremely
portal
durable
generators,
hard light.
shields made of
In fact,
extremely
by tapping into
durable
a
hard
furnace
light.
he was on, a massive amount of that very hard light formed a shield strong enough to save him from a point-blank 30 megaton nuclear warhead.
Okay, so before we get into the nuke thing, they missed a few things there. So there's ionized particles, there are hard light, smart matter, and negative ionized particles, which is antimatter. So there are three different types of Forerunner types of ammunition. There is, again, ionized particles, smart matter, and then negative ones. So depending on if you're fighting Master Chief and he has like the bolt shot, you might be deconstructed by weaponized positive matter. You might be deconstructed by weaponized negative matter, or deconstructed by weaponized smart matter, which is a completely different type of matter created from the building blocks of life by the Forerunners. So there are three different types of deconstruction that are made of different properties. So in order to survive that, you would have to prove you can resist all those types of deconstruction. Just to point that out.
So
before we get to the bomb.
Are you suggesting that Death Battle didn't do a good job going in depth on the actual details of the Forerunner weaponry?
They kind of made it seem like all the Forerunner weapons have the same particles. That's not true. That is directly disproven by the guides. They tell you the exact ammunition type for them, and even the games do this. And they make it clear that in 6 weapons that you have, there are 3 different ammunition types. So that's objectively incorrect. But
all right,
go ahead.
Whole starship, and Chief was just fine, floating around in space like he's chilling at the pool. I guess it helps that he's wearing so bad.
So the 30 megaton warhead While that is true, it's stated to be a 30 megaton warhead. I would not. Okay, so technically, that you wouldn't really argue that's its direct attack potency. You would just argue that's its range, because there is a 35 megaton bomb that's detonated in I think it's like Côte d'Azur or whatever, in the Fall of Reach. And when they detonate it, according to what the novel and the comic shows, the explosion can not only be seen from the atmosphere, it literally covers the entire country to continent. There's also examples of I think it's like a 10 kiloton payload being able to detonate the Alpha Shard at 300 kilometers, which is only somewhere in the town level, but it's blowing up something the size of a small city. So Halo payloads consistently don't even meet the actual criteria of what they are. They're actually much stronger. They also state in First Strike that the Havoc nukes that they use, the ones that would be mentioned here, if you just take 3 of them together, tape them together and put a fusion pulse charge, it boosts their yield 100-fold. And if you boost their yield 100-fold, you create what is known as a Nova Bomb, which can blow up planets. If all it takes to blow up a planet is to take a Havoc nuke and boost its yield 100-fold, then that weapon isn't city level. That weapon would have to be high-end multicon, super high-end multicon to moon level to blow up a planet for you to boost it 100 times. It cannot be city level. Mathematically, that makes no sense. And the Nova Bomb has not only done this once, it's done this twice. It blew up a planet in Halo Envoy, and in Halo, I think, Ghost of Onyx, it was detonated on the side of a moon. It exploded, obliterated the entire moon, itemized it. The explosion traveled from the moon to the planet, lost most of its kinetic velocity, then life wiped the planet and turned it into a fiery hellscape. So
Sounds same level to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
So when they say it's a 30 megaton bomb, that's just a semantical term given for the payload difference. That's not the actual potency of the warhead. You haven't proven how powerful it is.
Nice.
It should be much, much stronger than city level. That's my point.
After Thor's hammer,
Yes.
Mjolnir. Well, the Mjolnir armor.
Oh, hold on. We have some more things.
What is this? Artificial intelligence, Cortana, the weapon, military-powered assault suit, biofoam injectors, energy shields, fail-safe detonators, grapple shot, hydrostatic gel, pressure seals, reactive circuits, repulsors, thrusters. There's a lot more than that. Power-ups in gear, active camouflage, auto turret, bubble gel, damage, invincibility, bubble shield, power drain, Promethean vision, quantum translocator. I don't think... Okay, so you can't give him the quantum translocator. So yes, the quantum translocator is a thing at the time of Halo Infinite. That's fair. But Master Chief wouldn't have access to that because that was released... That's a development weapon that was created during the time of Halo Infinite in many of the Spartan training facilities. That wouldn't be something that would be available to him. It might be on the Infinity or it might be somewhere on Zeta Halo, but we have no proof he's gotten a quantum translocator. So that would be kind of wild. If he picked it up at some point throughout his journeys, that'd be fair game, but I don't think you can give him that. Trip mine, speed boost, all those are fine. Okay, so as far as the Mjolnir-powered assault armor, they also missed a few things. So he's also got motion sensors. He has armor lock as well, which he can do. He also has a Mjolnir onboard computer targeting system, which allows him to predict and determine exactly how and where certain projectiles are going to fly and the exact time frame that he can use them for, as well as a stopwatch and a database that has all of the UNSC's material that he can use at any time. He also has the Artemis tracking system, which allows him to scan and see everything within his field of vision for 50 to 100 meters. And it also turns his weapons into aimbot, meaning that whenever he shoots something, not only will he snap to the target to shoot it, it will also give him hit markers. Master Chief can give himself canonical hit markers to determine if any of his bullets or any of his projectiles actually hit a target. That's something that they failed to include. So there's a lot more than that, and that's just the stuff that I can think of. There's also a bunch of other things, but yeah, let's continue.
Their speed even more. to block incoming fire and fills his wounds with medical biofoam. He's got a grappling hook, because who doesn't? And thrusters, so he can fly. Well, kind of.
Spartans in armor have dodged laser fire from the Type 50 beam rifle.
Wait. Where was this in their final analysis?
Nowhere.
I mean, that's okay. So that's true. You can use those examples, but the examples that you'd be better off using are there's feats from First Strike of Kelly seeing a sentinel beam, watching it fire, and then dodging it after it fires, and then it blows up the ground next to her after it's fired from like a super sentinel. So it's not like a particle beam, it's just a beam of light. Only the beam rifles that the Covenant Jackals use are particle beams. The Sentinel beams are just light. Also dodging light rifles and things counts as that. Master Chief also has a feat in Halo Evolutions in the short story when he's going through Halo 2, where he sees a Marine that's about to get sniped by a beam rifle. He crosses the entire room after the beam rifle is shot, grabs her, and then moves her out of the way, all before the particle shot hits the ground. And then Fred, another member of Blue Team, also sees a banished sniper blast a beam rifle in Halo Lost Light at him. He sees the flash, ducks mid-shot, and it whistles over his head. So every single member of Blue Team has consistent examples of it. Like, I'm fine with them acknowledging it. I'm just saying there are better examples that you can use from the books. So they probably should have included those.
All right. Let's continue.
And Master Chief has pushed himself to run 66 miles per hour.
Anything you want to add here?
Yes. That's not the fastest that you would use. So there are examples in Halo 5 and examples from Halo Legacy of Onyx, where it's shown that Spartans, even with the Gen 2 exoskeletons, can outrun ghosts. And it is stated directly that in Legacy of Onyx, Tom is able to run as fast as a Warthog, which at their maximum speeds, they're like a standard combat vehicle, so they'd be moving like 100 miles or over 100 miles an hour. So that's not counting how fast they'd be moving if they had sprint, which the sprints module canonically upgrades their speed to make them go faster. And Cortana, as a smart AI, can also enhance the speed of the Spartan and make their force their brain to go into overdrive to force their muscles to use even more of their body. So he could actually output a speed way above what a Warthog would do. Ironically, the Halo TV show did the most lore accurate presentation of a Spartan by having him run so fast. He caught up to a Warthog like at full speed. That is actually canon. Like, Spartans can do that. They are faster than like speeding cars.
Wouldn't Warhogs just be like able to just like even just going 70 miles an hour would just already be faster, not including mongooses and stuff, which I'm assuming they're comparable to.
Faster than what specifically?
Reggie. Well, than what they're saying here.
Oh yes, you would only have to go 4 miles faster. So that's calculated from the fact that they're calculating the time it takes from a scene where Master Chief is on an obstacle course and he's running to catch a flag, and a skyjet was called in to take him out, and he basically gets hit with a rocket, which they didn't really account for this, even though it's stated in the thing. He swats the rocket away. That it damages him, sends him flying backwards. He gets up and he has to sprint in such a short period of time, which if you calculate the exact distance that he sprints, which it tells you, and the exact speed he goes, it comes out to about 66 miles an hour. They are correct. However, what they didn't mention is that when he did that, he split his Achilles tendon. That was also in Mark V armor. That was not Mark VI armor with a Gen 3 exoskeleton. And they state that each of the grades is a fraction of the one below. So he would be much faster in Mark VI armor with Cortana.
So,
and also he would have a working Achilles tendon. So he would not be 66 miles an hour at maximum speed. That's incorrect.
So that all leaves the speed feat they're using after being damaged. He's also, as they point there, his Achilles tendon has been torn, so it's not even a viable full speed.
Yes, it's actually an underrepresentation of what Master Chief's maximum speed could be, even at that time. with his current equipment.
So to clarify, Doomslayer did win the death battle. We're going through and analyzing it because both Kyle and Mangler have experience in both verses. I think they didn't take literal speed. No, so
This sounds like they're taking literal speed.
Death Battle has this really bad habit of making speed the least important category in their fights because half of Death Battle's fights are speed blitzes of the highest order of fucking magnitude.
There's
there
so
are
many people
a
who
lot
lose
of Death
in this
Battle
chat.
fights where you can literally just say, this guy is moving like 3 billion times faster than the speed of light in comparison to him. This man will never be touched under any circumstances.
Yeah, I was gonna say they didn't
matching the top speed of a
they didn't mention speed at the end, right?
They do not
No, they
mention
did.
speed.
They do, but they go over it in a very vague term of like travel speed, and it's like even if that's true, Chief's reaction speed is so abhorrently faster that the Doomslayer would never touch him. On top of that, Doomslayer doesn't have anything that's AoE based besides from the BFG.
So what I meant is that do they have a category for it?
Oh,
No, so what they've been usually doing this season is that they'll break it down into AP, speed, durability, etc. But this time they decided to lump it all into one category, as in stats, and then they tried to brush it they tried to brush it away and tried to talk about technology instead.
I don't know if that really is fair, considering they threw Cortana to the side and basically said her contribution would be negligible, was their exact words. I'm going to get into that.
And yet in the same breath, they said that she's better than Vega.
Yeah, I know. But let's continue. Yeah, Doom Guy wins because he's immortal. Stop aging, not invincible. He has 1,000 years of experience for fighting in hell. I'm also gonna explain why that's wrong.
Scorpion tank, and even an elephant.
What? Why would he throw an elephant?
No, Wiz, not the
Okay, so flipping a scorpion tank is valid. Flipping an elephant is not, because you never actually get the elephants in a cannon level for Halo, and that only happens in Forge mode. I'm assuming that is what Zim was getting upset about earlier.
No. So you didn't hear what he said. So I get. What? Oh no, ese agarré salsa de algo que comí en la tienda y. Disculpa, me compra comida. Alright, so my mom's judging me for having friends that buy me food. So.
Yes.
So,
Scab. He's a scab.
Don't ever buy him food, is what I'm hearing.
It's like 2 miles an hour. Even the game.
I want to let Boomstick talk here real quickly because my issue wasn't with the feed itself, which Mangler is correct about what he said. It's what Boomstick says about the text.
Miles an hour. Even the game wonders how Chief can flip that 200-ton beast.
He can
See, what Boomstick is saying is that the text here is in reference to Chief flipping it over, but that's not what the text is in reference to. It's in reference to you breaking the game and putting the elephant on its side.
Yeah.
It's not referencing Chief flipping it. It's referencing the idea of how you broke the game to put it in a position to flip it. Also,
you might not know this. Sorry, just to add to what Zim said, you might not know this if you haven't messed around with the elephants and tried to flip it in Forge, but it's actually physically impossible to flip it without the monitor, because you have to take a scorpion tank or some large vehicle, put it inside the beginning of the elephant with the monitor, and drag it so that you can pull the elephant over. That's why it gives you a cue that says, press this to flip. Wait, what? How did you do that?
Wait, is that how you flip the elephant? Oh, you did it a lot easier than I did.
You're supposed to use the monitor to pull it in there, but you can't flip it normally.
No.
That's why
So what I would do is I would get one of those pods that hold weapons but have it sealed, right? And then you would jam that into the cockpit. You would walk up to it with that blue fucking boost that shoots you up in the air.
Yeah, the garage.
Well, the elephant goes flying.
You can do it. You can do it different ways, but the point is that you're not supposed to be able to naturally move it. Like, you can't melee it over. You can't press a button and cause it to flip. You have to do something with the physics that makes it flip over that isn't natural. So the game acknowledges, yeah, you can't do that. Whereas that's
Also-
not the case for the Scorpion tank.
Also, to clarify as well, because I believe the Scorpion Take has an in like lore feat of being flipped, right? I'm assuming there's more to it than that, or is it just that you can flip it in the campaign?
It is for the Scorpion tank. It is just that he can flip it. Warthogs, he does have examples of being able to like lift things near that, or lift things higher than that, or get hit by things higher than that. Because Warthogs only weigh about 3.3 to 3.7 tons. They're able to tackle hunters who weigh 5 tons. So they can tackle things almost twice the weight of a Warthog. So yeah, they can canonically flip that. But I would just give him anything he can flip. The problem is that the elephant can only be interacted with in Forge. And the only way you can get that is through an unnatural thing like becoming a monitor or doing grab lift bullshit. Yeah. Stuff that isn't normal.
Like, why Cortana couldn't come up with a strat to be Doom guy? Like, he's a Marine who ascends to God? What language is that? Did Death Battle talk about Master Chief's luck? No, but we'll go from there. Can Dante versus Doomslayer? Dante just takes that in any version except for like maybe Netflix. Doomslayer's not that strong. We'll talk about him a little more.
Actually, you could probably argue the Netflix one kills him too.
That 200-ton
beast. No, man, you can access other equipment with the Mjolnir armor, like invisibility, speed boosts, extra shields, and even 10 seconds of total invincibility.
¿Qué? ¿Qué no está ahí arriba?
As it all depends on which version, which Dante post DMC5 Dante, then Dante. No, like any version of Dante from like the end of novel 1 is Demon King level. But you don't even need to be scaled to a higher dimensional state to beat Doomslayer. You could beat him as a 3-dimensional character with AP.
But even without those, the armor is strong enough to survive re-entering the Earth's atmosphere and crashing to the ground.
The moment we all realized just how tough this guy really is. Tough enough to end the war with the alien covenant almost single-handed.
So, remember how they just said that it's strong enough to survive falling out of the atmosphere? If you take a 500 kilogram object and throw it through the atmosphere at speeds of tens of thousands of miles per hour, I believe the general approximate range of how like strong and how much AP it can output is somewhere in like the town level range, which means his armor lock is capable of withstanding stuff like that. But they don't go over this in detail. So I'll just mention it now. There are statements that the Mjolnir armor can withstand artillery fire. There are statements that it can survive thousands of tons of sand, basically like flying at like terminal velocity, and all it would do is blow a Spartan away. It wouldn't actually like hurt them or damage them or even penetrate their body. And that's for the Mark IV Mjolnirs. That's not for like the 5s or the 6s, all of which are grades above each other and have like energy shielding, which is way stronger. That also doesn't include the armor lock settings. The armor lock settings of the suit are way stronger than the typical shields or the actual armor itself. So there's actually 3 levels of durability that you have to prove you can get past to kill the Master Chief in his armor. There's not one.
Armor lock is a real thing? I thought it was a multiplayer thing. No, they reference it in Halo 3.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's referenced in Halo 3 and in Halo 4. If you try to hit a Spartan with enough velocity, his shields generally will reach into armor lock, or will do some kind of system that puts him into armor lock, at least with like the Mark 6s and onwards. So you actually have to have like way higher AP than where the Spartan typically sits in order to kill him. Or his suit will just armor lock.
So we'll answer more to Doom questions as we get to Doomslayer. There's only like a few minutes left of Halo.
He was so scary, the aliens even started calling him the Demon.
You'd think he wouldn't still be a petty officer after that.
Okay, so let's look at oh, look at that, a Banshee. So they do know what Banshees are. Crazy. So where is it in his arsenal?
Never.
Yeah, mainly, I know nothing about Halo, so you're going to have to go through these feats and tell me which ones are good and which ones mean nothing.
So punched away a Covenant charging Banshee. That's less impressive than scaling to Will, who can tackle a hunter. Survived a gravity well and atmospheric reentry. Okay, that's pretty good. Dodge beam rifle shots. Sure. Defeated 4 ODSTs as a teenager. Without context, that means nothing. Survived multiple encounters with a Urdidact. Survived is about the most charitable way that you can put those encounters. Stop the Harbinger for reviving the Zaylan. That doesn't mean anything to anyone who didn't play Halo Infinite. Spearheaded the end to the Human Covenant War. That also doesn't mean anything unless you... What are these like abstract recalls of his statements? Are like, oh, we need to come up with the most uncharitable way to explain his feats. Defeated the Covenant, the Flood, the Banished, the Prometheans. Sure.
Oh, whoa, defeated the Banished there? I didn't see
Yeah,
Atriox dead. I didn't see Atriox
he also
gone.
technically didn't defeat the Flood or the Prometheans either. And he technically didn't defeat the Covenant because they broke up and had a civil war after the fact. Like, listen, Master Chief's got a lot of great feats, but it mostly comes from scaling, skills, experience, weapon arsenal, not from, like, things he did.
So
to, like,
from what I'm gathering from you and from what I can see on screen, he only has 2 feats that should be on here. Dodging a beam rifle and punching the Banshee.
He has a lot more feats that should be on here, but they should be in regards to statistics and things that he has. Not like things he did in the past.
To be fair, Death Battle is really fucking bad about that shit. It's not just this one.
No, it's definitely...
hang on. There are times that they're bad at it, and there are times that they're good at it. Did they play it like this because the Doomslayer has no fucking feats?
Oh, what do you mean, Kyle? Doomslayer has a longer period of time to go over all the stuff. What do you mean?
Also, so Doomslayer
has no fucking feats. He's like one of the most featless characters I've ever fucking encountered.
Didn't Chief get one tap by Atriox? Technically yes, but that's only because he had a terrible commander. If he had the right commander, right guy, wouldn't have happened.
No, because not only does Atriox hit him while off guard, Atriox, when he hits him with the hammer, it doesn't even penetrate his shield. He has to hit him multiple times after the fact. And it's also a banished weapon, which is heavily modified above normal Covenant weapons.
Am I going to have to show these people what happened between Chief and Atriox?
Yeah. We already did this, and I explained to you that banished weapons are intentionally fully engineered to be as close to the Forerunners as possible. So that actually strengthens the argument. Doesn't weaken it.
Okay.
Oh, Master Chief Petty Officer is the highest rank for enlisted recruits.
Yeah.
Mission Officer is his active...
I will stomp you. No. I don't give a fuck.
No, Chief. Listen. Chief's my boy, but he got clapped. He got clapped.
Listen, you can say that's definitely fair, but to say he got one tap, objectively untrue.
I saw Chief fucking struggling to get back on his feet after that first hit.
Well, yeah, he took a concussion to the head. What the fuck are you gonna do?
That sounds like a one-tap to me.
Oh my God.
Kind of defeats the whole point of being a super soldier, right?
Makes sense. And he wasn't totally alone in this. He had the help of an onboard artificial intelligence system.
It's Cortana time.
Dr. Halsey herself, Cortana.
God, everything comes with AI these days. This one's different, though. Or, wait, maybe not. Is anyone horny for Alexa?
Cortana can hack other AIs, even those designed by far more advanced
That's just text from the comic of what's it called? Dominion Splinter. That's not text they actually put on the screen.
Is that her Didac?
She is constantly
that's Warden Eternal.
Okay.
Cortana
has conquered billion-year-old quantum databases like the Forerunner domain, done computations in higher dimensions, and cracked the 128,000-bit encryption key, a thermodynamically impossible feat by modern standards. And she couldn't figure out how to beat a guy whose best weapon is a fucking plasma rifle.
Enemies,
hang on,
large-scale battles, and even process
why is my computer being fucking shit? Hang on.
To be fair, I had this same complaint in Eggman versus Bowser, where it's like, Bowser's powers are so crazy. I got a being that can think in multiple dimensions of infinity and can perceive every possible outcome from any scenario. You're really telling me she couldn't predict you having magical powers? Really?
I'll talk about the first fight. What were they going to say? Oh, yes, go back a little bit.
All right.
A little bit more. I want you to listen to what they have to say. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Tracking enemies, can guide large-scale battles, and even process the entirety of human knowledge in less than 2 hours.
So that feat, you actually have to take into consideration the total. So because of the fact that we don't have all the total recorded human knowledge of the entire UNSC empire. We can't really fully calculate it, but we can take our existing internet, and which is our largest data storage of human history, and basically say how quickly it would take for her to calculate that, because she'd be calculating something unfathomably larger than that, as she'd be calculating something that has 500 years worth of history, and that wouldn't just include like the surface web, but like also the deep web. I think the lowest end calculations I got for how much data exists on the internet and how fast you'd have to have, like how fast of processing power you have to process it, it comes out somewhere in like the quadrillions of times the speed of light, if not like way higher.
So, does she turn mad?
That you process it. No, she does not turn mad from that.
No. So my question is, does she turn mad in the series because she basically had to experience 500 years of all the porn that ever existed?
No.
Okay, so when she's talking in this scene in one of the Halo Legends movies, what she says is that when she was born, she possessed the total sum knowledge of human history, human knowledge. It took me 2 hours to process and understand all that information. She was just born, so later on, end game Cortana would have way more processing power and speed, even if she was moving closer to rampancy. She also absorbed 100,000 years worth of history from the Alpha Halo array. And she did it in like under a day. And that's what actually sped her closer to rampancy, but she was still mostly fully operational during the events of Halo 1, Halo 2, and then she only started really experiencing the rampancy due to Halo 3 and the Great Mind expediting her condition. Isn't there an 11D statement with the slipstream stuff? There are like 10 11-dimensional statements.
Chief isn't too far from an emotionless robot himself. How's he made him like that?
Sort of. He's a force to be reckoned with, but John lost a lot of himself along the way. As luck would have it, and John is quite lucky, Cortana proved herself a dear friend. Even when she started her villain arc and exploded, but it's okay, he just got a new one.
Kind of ironic.
Wait. They're just going to say he's canonically lucky and then not mention it?
Even when she started her villain arc and exploded.
Okay, we'll talk about it later if they finish.
Are they literally just going to pass over it like they did for fucking Drake?
Artificial chick based on the woman who destroyed his life would bring back his sense of humanity.
I still think Lara Croft wins that one.
No matter who or what.
In Drake's defense, he has like one.
But a savior.
In Drake's defense, he has only one like statement about it. The Master Chief has like 20.
Okay, so...
Okay, guys, just gonna pass over it. All right.
So, but before we get to Doomslayer, I think you should talk about the luck, because that actually is...
Okay, so I mentioned before that Master Chief has a gauge inside of his actual genome. A gauge is essentially a set of DNA-based protocols that fits into your very DNA, and probably further, all the way beyond the atomic level, because they can put these things into your patterns, which is essentially the Halo equivalent of a soul. And what it does is it prescribes them with a specific set of instructions through the process of living time. And that means that you are essentially guaranteed and guided by fate and probability itself to meet a set of conditions and outcomes. It's not just Chief that's had this. Several humans have gotten this as a result of like the librarian's work on them when she did the reseeding protocol. But the point is that Master Chief also has that and his luck. Cortana has directly stated, even with her computational power and all of her bullshit like calculation feats, that she cannot actually calculate Master Chief's odds. Because every time she does, she makes it clear that it is actually impossible for him to have survived certain circumstances, that he should have died in Halo 1. And yet he keeps surviving outcomes that are statistically impossible. So his luck defies like the most bullshit mathematical equations and probability possible. And he's literally fated to do certain things. So that's something that they didn't like talk about at all. Like, he does not have normal luck. He has bullshit, actual like plot defying like luck. it is not average like supernatural luck. But Laura's fought freaking dinosaurs. Why wasn't any of this brought up? Also, where was all the multiversal stuff from Doom? The same place it was when the Doom Scaler provided it. Nowhere. It's not actually in the games.
What did I say, Mangler? Wait to get to Doom Guard section.
So
we are there, and it doesn't exist.
Hang on.
There yet, Kyle. We're in the
There's a
in-between
few.
section.
There's a few more things I'm going to have to mention. I'm not going to bring up the Covenant Plasma Weapon Heat Index just yet. Right. Like, that's fair game because they haven't mentioned it. I'll mention it when they get to the conclusions. But one thing that they didn't mention is that Master Chief and Spartans actually have a bunch of physiological traits that predispositions them to having certain superpowers. One of them being that Spartans can canonically mimic any fighting style or thing that they see after they see it once. Because when they train with other Spartans, they can literally master their own fighting styles just after seeing them do certain things. They also have instinctive reflexes, as they're stated to move and act before thought, so you can't really, like, sneak up on them or anything. You can't even, like, hit them, really, because they'll always act through intuition rather than through, like, their own brainwaves. I mean, their senses are enhanced drastically, so they can hear a pin drop in a sandstorm. I think that is the direct statement given. They have, like, 20/20 vision at every direction. They have a bunch of other things. They also move completely silently. There is no sound made when Spartans move across the battlefield, no matter how quickly they're moving. So Master Chief doesn't actually make any sound when he'd be running around fighting Slayer.
So you're saying Slayer wouldn't be able to detect him?
Unless he has an advanced sensor system in his suit, he would not hear Master Chief at all. There would not be a sound. Because there are dampeners in that suit that prevent him from being able to do that. And even then, he's also a master of stealth as well. So, yeah, there's a number of other things, like weapon mastery and such. But just in general, like, Master Chief also should be a master of about 4 to 5 different martial arts. Between Aikido, Krav Maga, I think, like, Jiu-Jitsu and a few other things, as well as, like, Marine combat training and whatever martial arts he's created for himself. So he is a way better fighter than Doomslayer is. You could say Doomslayer has been fighting for longer, but that doesn't mean anything if, like, he doesn't have more to show for it, because he never really has a fighting style other than rip and tear and punch things. So you just be, like, giving him the benefit of the doubt when there's, like, nothing that years of experience has done. Anyway, that's all I have to say for the moment. I'll bring up more stuff about plasma weapons and AI later on.
All right, let us continue. It seems like being multiversal. It seems like being multiversal is harder nowadays. So, give us a little bit, because they don't talk about it, and I guarantee you the reason they don't talk about it is because they couldn't agree behind the scenes whether or not to give him multiversal scaling either.
Or they probably did, and they just wanted to avoid it.
Phobos, named for the Greek god of fear, and Deimos, inspired by the god of dread.
Sounds like the perfect place for portals to the burning abyss.
As demons swarmed the Martian moon of Phobos, only one man survived to tell the tale and push the demons back to the pits of hell.
He was a space marine until he refused an order to...
Can run on anything? So this one's a little weird, because I don't know if that's valid in the newer games.
What do you mean, run on anything?
Well,
not really. So what 16 and Eternal does is, in the old games, if you came across an acid floor, the floor would hurt you, but you could still run. But now you have to wade through it, like it's up to your, like, waist.
Oh, just like run, literally run. I thought it meant, like, he could, like, last forever.
No, they mean, like, fucking Jesus.
Oh. Yeah, no, that's not true at all. Even in the newer games and the old games as well, when he runs through specific areas, like, he still takes damage and shit from everything. So it's kind of like, even with the Praetor suit. But go ahead.
All right. Zach?
to fire on civilians. He was an engineer until his base was overrun by demons. He owned a cute pet rabbit named...
I refuse to believe Doomguy was actually an engineer. I am just 100% convinced his job was to just be guard duty. I refuse.
He was not. He was not an engineer. He was literally sent there for like some weird wet work because he assaulted a CEO. They make it clear what the reason he was sent there for in the Doom 1 guide.
Still, those demons murdered her, pissing him off so much even the Hulk would be jealous.
This impossible man was known as, well, nobody really knows. He's a mystery, a symbol of both death and hope. So we just call him
Doom Guy. Oh yeah.
Man, a whole lot of glazing for a guy that's not that impressive.
Same super shotgun he's got. And now you can get your own super shotgun.
Bad.
I was going to anyway. The quality is...
Who knows where, and got down to some...
Do any of you guys care about Doomguy having all these weapons or not? Are we going to talk about his weapons or no?
I will talk about some of them if they mention... Well, no, they really don't mention any of this. So I guess they didn't give anything like valuable about these.
Well, hang on, because there's the next round. Kyle, is there anything you want to say about these weapons or no?
I'd say that they're underplaying the BFG, but other than that, not really.
All right.
Good old-fashioned running and gunning.
Rifles, shotguns, flamethrowers, plasma guns, rocket launchers, chainsaws, and a...
All right, other weapons.
I would say... No. The UFC EMC, I would not say it has indefinite ammo. That's more so a gameplay thing.
Hang on, they're missing a grenade.
Which grenade?
Ah, they're missing a decoy.
Yeah, hologram. He needs hologram.
My shotgun.
That actually, well, it wouldn't really do it that much, but yeah, he should have hologram.
Frankly terrifying-looking grappling hook.
The Unmaker is a celestial supergun, shooting beams of light that take down demons in one shot.
Only rivaled by the incredible feat of technology that is the BFG 9000.
Don't sugarcoat it, Wiz. That's the big fucking gun. A single plasma shot from this beauty can annihilate everything in front of Doomguy instantly. It's like a handheld mini atom bomb launcher. It's also the power source for the BFG 10,000, a massive weapons platform that blasted a whole...
So they do reference that the BFG 9000 cannot perform that feat on its own. The weapons platform served to amp the BFG 9000. It just used it sort of like as a starting point for its source of energy.
It does more than that, and I'm going to explain why that's not a good thing. So what it does is it puts it on a railgun payload delivery system that sends it flying at a high velocity, causing it to have kinetic damage. The thing that they didn't mention was that the BFG and what the BFG does is that it fires like radioactive argent energy that targets other sources of argent energy in the area. So it is completely useless against a person who does not have argent energy. The only thing they tell you in the descriptions is that you could potentially die from the radioactivity, but that's completely pointless if you're fighting a person who has radiation shielding, which...
Well, the thing as well that needs to be mentioned is it's kind of disingenuous that they're bringing this up because it kind of... They're only bringing this up to try and keep it in the back of your mind that a feat like this exists. But they're not going to mention what Simon mentioned to me and Zim, which was there are special rings that are amplifying the shot, not just the velocity.
It's also on a railgun system, which means it's firing with the intent to project it through an accelerator. So it has kinetic energy now. So if you take an energy projectile and shoot it through a delivery system that makes it magnified and makes it go further, if you do that enough, if it's assuming it's not like light or something, well, I think even light technically this would happen. You're now forcing that thing to obey the laws of physics more by giving it friction. And at that point, it now has physical impact. That's not what the BFG has. The BFG doesn't really have enough motion. Like when you fire it, it just kind of moves slowly through the air and just kills everything. But it kills everything because you're shooting it at demons.
Okay, so just to clarify, because I remember I got into a discussion with you guys about this, where I pointed out that the BFG is not very effective against non-demon opponents. So if you get hit by the BFG, not the arcing waves, but just get hit by it directly, it will kill the normal target, right?
So it will probably pass through you, but you will most likely die from exposure to the energy of the BFG because of the radiation.
Your
However,
cells will be hypersaturated by radiation.
yes. However, that's if you're standing right next to it and you get shot point blank with it. And even then, you might not die immediately because they tried the UAC tells you in the descriptions for them in 2016 Eternal that they tested out multiple versions of it, and that was the version they came up with. And technically, people in the area that were exposed to large concentrations of it eventually died to radiation overdose. So it did not kill them immediately. And that would be for a person that doesn't have that would be not for a person that has a radiation shielded suit that also can block the radiation of a fucking nuclear bomb. I think because technically Spartan Mjolnir armors have been able to withstand the radiation of Fury warheads, which, in case you're wondering, like, oh, Havoc nukes in Halo, they're actually radiation free. Yes, they are. But because the UNSC is a master of nuclear power, they can produce nukes that have radiation, and one of them is called the Fury nuke. They detonated several of those in Silent Storm and Oblivion. And
you lag. Go back a second or two.
I'm back.
Okay.
It was called the what?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. You were talking about the name of the missile.
So there is a lower payload nuke called the Fury nuclear warhead, and it is intended to be a dirty bomb nuke that explodes with, like, I think a 2-kilometer radius. It is filled to the brim with radiation because normal UNSC nukes don't have radiation, typically, because they're like a perfect nuclear fission weapon. So they've been able to drop these in areas where Spartans are, and the radiation does not affect them. The only thing they're concerned about the Spartans surviving is specifically the payload. The radiation has no downsides on them. And they can also survive, like, radiation of things in space. They can survive radiation of slip space. They can survive it from, like, Covenant plasma. They can survive it from, like, fucking, like, what was it? But basically, like, every single source you can think, they have examples of surviving it. So they should be able to survive Argent energy, which is mostly just like, when concentrated in a weapon form, it's just plasma. That's all it is. Doom fans will try to tell you it's based on the souls, but, like, that's only in its initial state. Once it gets converted into the original Argent phase, it is now in a different state of matter than what it originally started as.
There's an entire level in Doom Eternal that you have to go through, and it walks you through the process of how they turn Sentinel and demonic energy into Argent energy.
Yeah, so they have multiple different energy systems in Doomslayer, and they take the energy systems, put them to a factory, mold them, process them, and change their state of matter, and then you get things like Argent energy. So by the time you've gotten to the end of the process, you're not dealing with the same energy source with the same properties. So that now, to be fair to Death Battle, to be fair to their credit, they didn't bring up these things, so they weren't arguing them for one reason and being disingenuous, but they kind of need to mention them because Doom Slayer fans talk about this a lot, and it is an important misconception they should probably clear up. All I'm hearing is
also for the fact that most Doom Slayer fans have never been through fucking Doom, and they don't even intend to go through the series to check if he's actually that strong.
Yeah, well, there's also some other problems with how they scaled the plasma thing, but I'll get to that later. But anyway, continues him.
All right, let us continue. All I'm hearing is Doom Guy getting one shot by a Titan from Destiny.
Through Mars. And so, Doom Guy discovered his life's mission. To kill every demon. Ever. No, really, he is absolutely...
Those enemies fucking suck. I hate those enemies. Those with the Bane my existence, those in the Marauders.
Yeah, that's addictive. He killed demons on Phobos.
Are you saying those aren't demons, Kyle?
No, I'm saying that the one that he stomped on the fucking head is the worst enemy in the game, aside from the Marauder.
Which one?
He even
kill demons in hell.
The sheer scale of demonic violence changed him, breaking him down into a living weapon.
Good thing he got some time to himself to grind some rails, chill with Isabel, and visit the
Didn't really
world
change him. He
Arch
kind of
the
just stayed the same.
Okay. I know they don't use it for scaling, but I don't even know if that's accurate. They like fucks with Animal Crossing.
Okay, so how familiar are you with meme culture? Because that's more of a meme that I think unironically confirmed.
I would say that's probably at the same level of validity as the Fortnite crossover.
So, for those of you who are unfamiliar about Animal Crossing and Doom, in the same week that Doom came out, Animal Crossing and Doom fans were buying, I think it was they were buying both games together at the same time. And so because of that, there ended up being a lot of people. It's kind of like Barbie and Oppenheimer.
That is fucking two. That is two different extremes. The poor cashier would be so confused. You get to to pay for it. Okay, so you want a super chill time, and at the same time, you really have some issues that you want to get off your chest. Are you okay?
You want to play with all these animals and then brutally murder an entire race of demons.
You want to play this very monotonous, basically farm simulator, and then you go into basically demon bullet hell.
I'm hearing that they're both the same thing. I'm not hearing the difference. But yes.
Well, for all of about 10 seconds before he was thrown into a coliseum. Naturally, he was the best fighter there. He even joined and trained with the Night Sentinels, an elite fighting force.
And then hell showed up on that planet too.
Man, my guy really can't catch a break, can he?
While most people would be terrified of demons showing up to murder them, something had shifted. Doom Guy wasn't scared of the demons. The demons were scared of him. Hellwalker, they called him. The Beast, the Unchained Predator. But his time with the Night Sentinels solidified a new moniker, one that would strike terror throughout the Dark Realm. Doom Slayer.
Imagine being those demons.
I kind of need to provide some context. The reason they call him that is because he donned the Praetor suit, and he was given enhancements by the one known as the Sephirin. So that happened after he was augmented, and then after he had the Night Sentinel training. That was not when he was Doom Guy. So they started becoming afraid of him because he got put into the Praetor suit. They were not afraid of him as Doom Guy. They did not give a single fuck.
Once he became the Doom Slayer, that's when they sent him out on missions to go deeper into hell where it actually mattered. And that's where he started getting a reputation in hell. Not as Doom Guy, where he basically just meandered around where he was needed.
Yeah, then the Doom demons were like, oh, right, he means business now.
Sounds about right.
Invade a whole new world far away from that helmeted freak who killed you last time, just to stumble onto him all over again. I'd be scared too. The Slayer is like a fusion dance of Jason Voorhees and the goddamn Terminator. He's always coming up with new ways to kill demons, but my fave is the blazing sword called the Crucible.
Okay. Little nitpick. They really shouldn't be showing footage from Dark Ages when Dark Ages hasn't come out yet.
The same fucking thing at the exact same area.
I did. Actually, I said it just a little bit earlier, but yeah, they should be showing footage of something that isn't out.
I would just like to point out that the one brain cell between you guys must work overtime to keep you guys in line.
Crucible is powered by.
I don't want to fucking hear this from you.
I have my own brain cell.
Hey, we're in sync. I don't know what you're about.
Okay, so hold on. We're going to hear what they say about the sword, then we're going to talk about it.
Called the Crucible.
The Crucible is powered by Argent energy, sort of like a fuel for hell. Completely charged, it can power all of Earth for up to 8 months.
Can you pause that?
Much of Earth.
Fuel for hell. Okay. Well, Steaming, I've been told off by Big Brother that I shouldn't be naming sources. Our quote-unquote source told us that it's not really scalable.
Hang on, what does this say? Oh, your head is in the way. The destruction of Ardent Wellspring on Mara meant chaos for planet Earth, following the loss of communication between Earth and Mara-based facilities. The collapse of the Argent energy grid consumed the planet in crisis. It was during this time oh my... What the hell?
Sorry.
Samuel Hayden suddenly resurfaced on Earth before the Alien Council, wielding that which might offer solutions, salvation to mankind, the Crucible. After recounting the events that had transpired on the Red Planet, Hayden agreed to cooperate with AN, providing access to the various UAC facilities on Earth, and by extension, the full range of technology at his disposal. Terramata Mummies was the Crucible, the last remaining sources of ardent energy in existence. So, it's not really the energy of hell, at least not directly. So souls, when people fall into hell, the way they become demons is that they just wander around hell until eventually the environment corrupts them over the course of the years and potentially decades. And then their soul is eventually ripped out of their body through a long, long process, is put through the pools in the environment of the world, and then converted into a different energy source over a long process that then gets mixed in with some dark magic, and that becomes Argent energy. But then that process also gets changed a little bit with Doom Eternal, because they mentioned that Sentinel energy and a bunch of other energy is added to it to change it further and then give it new states of matter. And then that also changes depending on what weapon you put it into.
Stop changing shit.
So, and also how somebody becomes a demon also entirely depends on if you are able to just hide from the demons for decades, or if a demon like a pain elemental finds you.
Yeah, what kind of demon you become and the energy you have is completely different from step 1 to step 10. And what you could be looking at the end of the step-by-step process wouldn't even be the same energy system, or even the first 2 energy systems. So, yeah, I mean, well, they're technically correct in like a sort of sense that it is the energy of hell, in that you can find it in hell. It does not naturally come from hell. It's made from a bunch of different stuff that doesn't come from hell, and a bunch of stuff that doesn't naturally occur in hell either.
All right.
So if Doom made all of that, how powerful are demons really? Anywhere from like, depending on the demon, like wall to like.
Granted, much of Earth had been decimated.
You get like given the maybe building.
Some of the bigger ones are like multi-city block. Some of them are like large building, some small building. Depends on the one we're talking about.
Within seconds, Argent towers can generate energy equivalent to what a nuclear power plant can produce in 1 year.
Technology, so it probably evens out. By taking the average annual consumption of Earth and narrowing
Okay, so they're not going to elaborate on that, I see. So that comes from a codex in 16.
Yes, this comes from a codex regarding the Argent energy output when it was first discovered, when the UAC promoted this and presented this to, I think it's the United Nations like Security Council or whatever the Security Council was, because they were trying to propose like an energy alternative at the time, because nuclear power was kind of running out and they needed to provide something fast, and Argent energy was what they came up with.
Thirds, given the 8 months time, thereby multiplying it by
Whoa. Wait, well, what was that math that they were trying to do there? Let me watch that from the beginning.
Okay, so this is a reference to the Crucible power in the planet.
Completely charged, it can power all of Earth for up to 8 months. Granted, much of Earth had been decimated at that point, but it's future technology, so it probably evens out. By taking the average annual consumption of Earth and narrowing it down to 2/3, given the 8 months time,
No,
thereby
you can't do that because the demonic invasion of Earth took place over months or years, depending on the codex.
It does, and we also don't know how much of the infrastructure is intact. So you can't argue that the average would be fair, because most of the gore nests were in places like the United States, Europe, and Russia, which are massive infrastructure population centers, and they would represent the bulk wattage on the planet, especially the US and Europe, because they're the most developed countries. They would have more infrastructure than any of them else, at least in terms of data and power consumption. And
this also shrinks. This also severely shrinks when you. It's like, well, it's powering the what's left of humanity. Okay, what's left of humanity is like, I think 20% of humanity is left, and they're all in like one area trying to survive.
They make it clear in Doom Eternal that the entire planet is basically covered with demons, and a significant percentage of the human population is already extinct. So there's no reason to assume most of the infrastructure is intact.
To clarify on something for a moment, they do claim that future technology would inherently use more power. They don't claim it. They don't claim it. They imply future technology would use more power, so it evens out their estimation.
That's not an argument they want to use because they now just conceded that they could never hurt Master Chief. Master Chief's Mjolnir armor is actually powered by a nuclear reactor made by Halo technology. And I have direct statements that Halo technology over time advances way beyond our own. So if we want to use that argument, I could just argue it's unfathomably more powerful than any conventional nuclear option. And based on
I know where this argument is going to, and it doesn't work because they're saying that like Slayer swinging the blade equals X amount of force. No, it does not. We're about to get into a Raiden situation.
That's not what they claim. I believe they just claim the sword on its own just produces that much energy. I don't think they ever claimed that swinging it equals that.
Because I remember seeing this in the analysis. This is what they use for AP to say that like Doomslayer is like 30,000 times stronger than Master Chief.
Yeah, that wouldn't work because if we're going by the same nuclear technology, he should have the same reactors that they use to produce Havoc nukes. So at that point, the energy shield system that Master Chief has should be at bare minimum in the city level, if not like way above that range, which is way beyond any AP feat.
You don't even have to play that game. It doesn't work because the blade is never shooting out its attacks like a beam or a flash. You can't even argue that like a portion of the AP gets transferred to an attack. It's just how much power the sword can hold, which means nothing if the sword isn't using that power for an attack.
You're correct. I'm just saying, even if we gave them the benefit of the doubt, it doesn't matter. Because you're arguing a technological change, right? Like you're saying that the terawatt hours matters this because the future will produce more energy. You can't make that argument against Halo. Halo, of all verses, is a series about advancing technology over time. If you use that argument, you're going to get fucked. Halo has way better technology feats. Wait until we get to the Cortana thing at the end, and I'll explain some of her dumber statements.
All right.
In 0.666, outfitting, we can conclude that the Crucible's full charge outputs over 53 quadrillion joules of energy, giving an output of approximately 157 trillion kilowatt hours.
Yeah, big number. That's nice. But the Slayer just uses the Crucible to blow shit up, even without it.
So the argument you would use for consistency is that how often is the Crucible actually at full charge?
Oh, you get 3 swipes and that's it.
What I'm saying is that they're calculating the total amount of energy that is output, but that's not how much energy it would be outputting at every single point in time.
What the fuck?
That's the total amount of energy it outputted at that time.
Oh, so when you get in Doom Eternal, you get to use it 3 times, and then you have to find Argent energy for it.
You're telling me the fucking shit that can power humanity for 8 fucking months can't power its own usage for 3 fucking times? Get that thing, Argent energy. What the fuck?
No,
I could just use their logic
to demons.
Energy.
you get to basically insta kill 3 demons, and then you don't get to use the sword until you find ammunition for it again.
Dog shit ass. Wait. So if the sword cuts through 3 different things in the middle of a fight, does that mean it's just done? It's just spent? If I cut through a fucking box, did I just lose a third of my power?
You now have to argue that the minor demons, even the imps, have so much energy output that they literally output more than all of mankind in a futuristic setting combined.
Well, it's one of the imps. It gets worse than that. Because you have the regular like zombies and zombie soldiers that have that unique animation as well.
Yes. So for context, we have statements in the Doom 1 guide that like even the Pinky Demon, which is just called Demon in the original, but they changed the name to Pinky. That thing is stated to hit like a truck. That's the only statement we have for like how physically powerful it is, and that it bursts through some like walls. So I mean, unless you're going to argue like a wall level to like small building level being has like enough energy inside of its body to power all of humanity, but still doesn't scale to its own energy. Well, at that point, like, doesn't even matter that you mention all the wattage because you can't even use it. Apparently, my favorite verse victimizes Doom. A lot of series kind of does. Not in terms of technology, but in terms of like scaling.
Zim will get a smile from this. Zim, does it make you feel warm and fuzzy if I say that Usopp would solo the Doomslayer?
Kyle, I need you to
Not
stop
just-
bringing up the
Does
worst
Halo,
characters you
Warframe,
can
and
for
Destiny
this.
both have statements like that, Mangler? That wouldn't surprise me, but like,
Buggy the Clown.
Talk about Halo. Anyway, let's continue. Let's keep going.
He's in a fucking
He can fight
whiplash.
specters, which are totally invisible to most people.
It is believed that the beast was accidentally released from its pen when its keeper, thinking the invisible specter had escaped, opened the door.
He's strong enough to knock around
It's
these
not
creatures.
invisibility, it's camouflage.
Even
No,
without
so
it, he
that's
can fight specters,
incorrect.
which are
It's not
totally
totally invisible. They make it clear in the game and in the original Doom games. It is partial invisibility, and you actually have a power up that is literally called partial invisibility. It is never stated how the invisible technology works at all. How what they did to it that caused it. They just put it inside of a pen and did some experiments on it. It's never elaborated what causes that. So it is some weird camouflage that's never clarified. And it's not fully invisible either. It causes a shimmer when it moves around.
So to basically make it easier so Zim can understand, by putting like basically the psionic part of a Kako demon into a pinky, they basically gave it the ability to do what the Predator does when it tries to disappear.
So actually, that's wrong. According to the description, the eyeball didn't even do that. It just enhanced its vision. The camel thing, it's never explained where that came from. So even the game that sources and claims that the pinky can turn invisible, or at least the Spectre, does not have the evidence for how the Spectre was able to become invisible, because the UAC doesn't know.
Well, the bottom line of this was basically just to explain to Zim that the invisibility works the same way as the Predator. It's just camouflage.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just saying it doesn't have any actual like statements for how it works. So it would just be like your baseline basic invisibility, but it's not full. It's not true invisibility either. It's partial. Actually, I would argue the Predators is probably better. Don't downplay the Predator like that.
He's strong enough to knock around these enormous steel blocks like nothing, and can even take down Titans with his bare hands.
Literally the best feat ever shown by the Doomslayer on screen is punching those things around, and I shit you not.
The Titan of immeasurable power and ferocity, he strode upon the plain and faced Doomslayer, and a mighty battle was fought.
Titans that can be 1,000
Okay, so
feet tall.
things like this is Doomslayer glazing, because we don't know if this is true, and this will be revealed in Dark Ages. But if it's not true, and it doesn't happen exactly how this text says, then this is just demons or people who left this stuff behind, just fear-mongering against the Doomslayer.
Yeah, it's never, you're never shown what the Titan fight is. You're just told about it in retrospect, which the rest of those statements are generally fine because he's just killing normal demons, and most of the demons he fights, he kills in any of the games anyway, so it's okay to hype him up. But with the Titan, he never fights that directly. So you kind of need to, like, give us some context, some better context.
And given how Dark Ages is going, he's either going to get help from that Sentinel Dragon, or he's going to be using a mech. I guarantee it.
Actually, if we go by what the trailers show, he's literally in a mech for giant boss battles against giant city-sized demons. So, yeah.
Scaling aside, that sounds fucking mad.
No, that thing's going to be great. Like, that's going to be fantastic gameplay section. But, like, that means he's not fighting it with his bare hands. He's using a mech.
If I can summon the mech scales to me.
What is this Primarch argument? Go ahead.
Fucking Zim being there about to tap into the fucking Hulkbuster.
This guy even
Zim's like, all right, let me channel greater wake than the Warhammer fans.
Those on Earth might not think so. He's not just a hero of the people. Some believe he's more.
like a religion, like a god.
Well, hang on. We know he's human because we know his ancestry. Doomguy is the great-grandson of B.J. Blazkowicz from the Wolfenstein games, which means Doomguy's father is the one and only Commander Keen.
I don't know. That just makes him even more mysterious.
Regardless, the Slayer has plenty of...
All right.
Wait,
You guys want
is
to
that
talk about here?
confirmed?
What?
Wait, is that Wait, so Doom and Wolfenstein are part of the same shit?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so Wolfenstein is part of the same general multiverse. I don't know the specific connections, but he is Commander Keen's son.
So they confirmed, I want to say back in like 2005 or something, that the guy you play as in Doom is the descendant of Blazkowicz from Wolfenstein. Because at the time, it was just a cool little, this is past Doom, this is future Doom situation. As time went on, that gets more complicated because of how, like, Wolfenstein expanded their multiverse and lore, but I think that's still considered canon. So, yeah.
So, what about Quake, then?
I think Quake's a different thing entirely. I'm pretty sure Quake is just a different universe entirely.
We don't talk about Quake.
Items and power-ups, fuck all this off. He gets none of this. This is so... you cannot ever justify him getting this, because this is luck of the draw if he finds it in hell.
Yeah, but let's wait until they hear what they say about the power-ups, because I want to hear what they say, because they have actual descriptions.
Upgrades, power-ups, and rune enhancements that make him seem superhuman, like speeding up his perception of time, turning partially invisible, or even becoming completely invisible.
He's not speeding up his perception of time, he's fucking slowing time down. It literally says he slows time down, and it's also called, like, the chrono something. Fuck off, he is not speeding up his perception.
Rune enhancements that make him seem
depending on how it is. Depending on perception. But I do take issue with them stating... So they stated it makes them partial invisibility.
Chrono Strike.
Oh, yeah.
Saving Throw and Chrono Strike are time manipulation abilities.
They are. But it is important to note that those abilities only activate when he's, like, near death. I think in Saving Throw...
Chrono Strike you can use whenever you want.
Yes, Chrono Strike's fair game. So... I wanted to point out two things. One, the invisibility, and one being the invulnerability. They mentioned it's partial invisibility, but they didn't mention that when they were talking about the pinky. So they didn't do their research. They didn't check the Doom 1 guidebook. Two, it's not actual invulnerability. So if you check and play Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, the UAC gives their report on what the power-ups are. They actually quantify what they are, and they explain what the power-ups do. Invulnerability isn't actually invulnerability. It just creates like a bioskin on your exoskeleton, like subdermal armor from Fallout, that just makes the edge of your body more durable.
Let me explain that in a way that's more uncomfortable and easier for people to understand. You basically get a shield just below the epidermis of your skin. So you basically are wearing this very uncomfortable energy blanket inside of your skin.
It just gives you another layer of armor. That's it. Like, the armor doesn't have special properties. It doesn't, like, reflect attacks or, like, passively heal you. It's just harder than what he had below him. Yeah, so
all right,
that's about it.
Like speeding up his perception of time, turning partially invisible, or even becoming completely invulnerable for 30 seconds. But don't get it wrong, the Slayer is not invincible. While his rage makes him an unstoppable force of fury, it consumes him. He's less a precise weapon and more like setting loose a bull in a china shop. If the bull was also strapped to
I'm glad they acknowledge that he is constantly in a bloodlusted state, because no one that ever uses Doomslayer acknowledges that he is literally running around like a maniac. So he should not be in a rational state of mind. Continue.
The Praetor suit may be an ancient relic, but it's also the most advanced set of armor in the universe and totally indestructible.
Oh, hold up. Hey, they said some wacky shit there. Back up a little bit.
But it's also the most...
Well, they also showed the strongest, they also just showed the strongest assassin.
Yes. Praetor suit may be an ancient relic, but it's also the... What does he say?
The suit was extracted from the rock, cleaned and subjugated to numerous tolerance tests, and found to be almost impervious to any damage.
No, I want to see what Boomstick says.
Oh, okay.
advanced set
Oh, I
of
thought you
armor
asked me to
that
read it.
is totally indestructible. Oh,
Totally indestructible.
That's
It
not
says
even what it says.
it's almost impervious to any suit. So, for context, in the actual statements that they give in the game, this is the UAC conducting a test of the armor in their own facilities using their own weapons. At the time, they would have mainly been using assault rifles, rocket launchers, their Gauss cannon railguns, and plasma rifles, which means it is almost impervious, meaning they were able to damage it or affect the armor with their existing weapons. It just took them everything they had to do that. That does not mean it is impervious to every force in the universe, or like, I don't know, literally anything for that matter.
He would literally get screwed over by anything that's Duran egg, any antimatter or anything like that. But even worse, like when me and Mangler were discussing this a couple of days ago, we were talking about this statement for the Predator suit, and it can't be completely indestructible like people claim because it has to be molded into a fucking suit.
Yes, it has to be molded into the suit, and the invulnerability power proves that it isn't. Because you can put an extra layer of armor on the suit that makes it even more durable. And not only that, the UAC made reports on both the Praetor suits and the invulnerability, so they know it can be applied to the Praetor suit. And they still consider the Praetor suit at default almost invulnerable. Also, being invulnerable, like, I hate to be that guy, but like that just means that most conventional weapons don't really work on you. But that's only relevant for what your conventional weapons can do. So if all your conventional weapons are below large building level, that just means you're invulnerable to things in the large building level range. You have to actually prove that most types of weapons would not work on you. You have to prove that. You can't just we don't just assume that. But
yeah, like God forbid if the Doomslayer was to go up against like an antimatter rifle from other sci-fi versus the shots of the antimatter rifle from like let's say Halo or Ratchet and Clank would pass right through him with like no resistance.
We don't even need antimatter at this point. I could use any significant amount of like just I don't know like a cellular or a molecular weapon. Certain biological ones too. Anyway, continue, Zim. Thank you for pausing.
All right. And Assassin's Creed guy wishes he had a wrist knife as epic as the Doomblade.
Back in his Doom Guy days, he relied on mega armor that could half all damage. Now, his Praetor suit can withstand Argent Plasma, the same energy that powers the Crucible. He can even tank actual...
I'm actually just going to say this for the record. Wouldn't the base armor from the original games also be able to withstand Argent energy, since they argue demon energy is Argent energy?
So this is something they forgot to mention. This is why you have to read Doom 1's guide. Fun fact for everyone watching the stream, do you know what Doom Guy's original green armor and his blue armor are made out of? Which any of you like to guess? I'll give you about 3 seconds, and then I will tell you. You know the answer, but you can't answer. All right, no one has answered. So, metal, okay. So, the original green armor is stated to be made out of Kevlar. Standard security armor Kevlar. His blue suit is a titanium or alloy composite. So, it is not having all damage, nor is it invulnerable. It's literally just titanium. Like, just standard titanium. That means that I can take, like, highly advanced body armor in our world. I can throw hands with a demon, and some of the weaker demons won't be able to penetrate through the suit immediately. Thought it was made out of green. It is made out of green. But for the record, I don't think Doom Guy was going around taking too many hits from most of the demons. But what that means is that for the original Doom Guy, his actual physical durability would have to scale below the armor. Otherwise, he's wearing an armor that is literally weaker than his own physical body, which would make no sense.
Let's see here. Oh, interesting.
That also means that you can block Argent Plasma with a Kevlar vest.
That's weird.
You know what doesn't block Halo Plasma? UNSC armor, which can block like 25th century armor piercing rounds. Actually, it deflects them. It doesn't block them. It sends them flying away because they don't have enough penetrating force.
He who should not be named apparently is messaging where we're streaming at. That's weird. I
Yes.
thought he'd be working right now.
Dark Maker states that. Yeah, so plasma melts through basic marine combat armor in Halo. It just vaporizes them, and it's also able to burn through Mjolnir Armor Mark IV and put scorch marks on it. Something that is defined to be titanium that is actually strengthened on the molecular level, titanium A. So it's actually stronger than that. But I'll get to all that in a minute. Point is that tanking Argent Plasma isn't impressive. It's not impressive because even the original materials for people on the planet can tank it, and there are other Doom Marines in the first 2 games that could fight demons and died in those levels other than Doom Guy. They could also they also died in various areas, which imply that they made it somewhat far killing demons. So their weapons and their armor also worked to help them survive, just not completely.
Well, seeming that people like to bring up Doom 3. Doom 3 also helps in that regard.
Well, Doom 3 isn't really valid because it's not like the same timeline, but Doom 1, 2, and 64 are, and that's like more than enough. But point is, that's all we need. It's saying, even mentioning the Crucible doesn't matter because by their own logic, the Crucible has a specific energy calc. You have to prove energy calcs for like all your weapons. Actually, wait, Zim, fun fact. Did you know how much energy the pistol outputs?
Well, like 100 joules, maybe?
4 megawatts. Exactly. They tell you that the full output of it with the charge pistol is 4 megawatts, which when you calculate that comes out to like 0.00025 of a ton, which is like wall level. So they make it clear that when you take Argent Plasma, you put it inside of a pistol and then put it under a high velocity slug, it gives it the same properties as a conventional ballistic projectile. And it's using a specific calculated amount of force, which means you can no longer argue that Argent energy having different properties makes a difference because it's not only obeying the laws of physics, it's outputting a set amount of force that we can calculate, that is being calculated. And generally speaking, it's not strong enough to meet the criteria of what they're claiming. Do you consider the 11D Chief stuff valid, Mingler? So I would say that the 11 slip space is an 11th dimensional construct, but it doesn't meet all the criteria for higher dimensions. However, slip space has met the criteria for having infinitely more volume than the given universe. And Master Chief, or not Master Chief, the 400 weapons are capable of affecting beings like the precursors that can manipulate that existing space. So depending on what you want to argue, you can argue that their weapons and their Durineg weapons can affect things that exist outside of like the rules of space and time in place where matter doesn't even work effectively. So you wouldn't argue that Chief scales to that in terms of durability, though he can survive being in those spaces. What you would argue is that his Durineg is like way beyond conventional Durineg. Anyway, continues him.
All right. Let us continue.
Or he'll just dodge the meteors, because he's fast enough to outrun rockets from a rocket launcher.
Okay, go back. For that, I want to see with that footage if they're using the haste ability.
Outrun rockets.
Okay, no, so his eyes aren't lighting
Or
it
he'll
up.
just dodge the meteors, because he's fast enough to outrun rockets from a rocket launcher.
He also has some help in the form of Vega.
I don't know how valid it is to use something like that for the older games, especially since we have lore and everything now. But I mean, if you want to use gameplay to that effectiveness, I mean that's fine. At least it's a valid piece of gameplay.
An AI he found overseeing mining on Mars.
So how do you take certain statements regarding Doom Guy having to push himself beyond the physical prowess of a human?
I would just say he's above like peak human ability then.
Originally designed for combat scenarios, it is proficient in hacking and technical know-how.
That's not what I meant. So let me explain. So technically, Doom Guy has a statement that he's able to push himself beyond physical prowess when he's exposed to the Berserk pack in Doom 1. Now, this obviously doesn't apply to the Slayer. The Slayer has like feats that are way beyond what any normal human could commit. But I'm saying that like they're providing examples of him moving faster than rockets as the original Doom Guy. Like Doom Guy being able to punch demons and do his physical prowess at all, only technically, like, we only have statements that validate those feats in the context of the Berserk pack, which is something that's an adrenaline item that he shoots into himself to make him way stronger. That's why he's seeing red, because he's being filled with adrenaline and he's being amplified way beyond a normal human. So he's actually not drastically superhuman, or even like, I'm just going to say, like, he shouldn't even be stronger than the world's strongest bodybuilder, technically. Not really. So I kind of have reason to doubt if he can outrun the Rockets.
How dare you lie to me?
Now, why that obviously matters is that they're using Slayer to upscale from those feats. But, like, those feats come into question when you consider the way the lore works for the original games.
Mangler, just letting you know, after the stream, you should lay low for a while because Doom fanboys are going to be after you. Why the fuck are you guys saying that? Like, they usually don't come after me instead? Because all I do is...
Why are you saying that? Like, why are you saying that like I wouldn't welcome them? They can go right ahead.
Why are you saying that like Doom fans even know their fucking lore?
Yeah, go right ahead. I got a whole fucking library.
Oh, God.
Create portals to alternate
so Chief isn't 11, even some of his weapons are? No, so it doesn't meet the conditions of my, like, higher dimensional standards, or really, like, most higher dimensional standards. I'm just saying that it can affect matter in a place where space and time and matter don't eventually exist. So it could Duraneg the Doomslayer.
All
right. Including hell itself. It's like pizza delivery, but for demons. Of course, that just makes it easier for Doomslayer to chainsaw them all in half. And time works differently in hell.
Oh.
I kind of find it weird that they bring that statement up just for, like, experience. But Vega doing that only really happens through the process of, like, portal technology that he already has access to, or, like, the Fortress of Doom. Like, Vega can't just, like, snap his fingers and then open up a portal anywhere in reality. He has to have technology that can already do that. He can operate that technology, yes.
So, what happens in Eternal is Vega will stay on the ship. So he has two primary functions. Like, he has a small bit of him that communicates with the Slayer wherever he goes on the planet or in Hell, and he'll open up the portals for him. But he needs the fortress and the vast amount of power the fortress has to do that. If you were just to isolate him from the fortress, he can't just do it on his own.
Yeah, the fortress gives him a lot of stuff that he wouldn't have ordinarily. As Midio might fit in real good. The only thing Mangler would have to do is yap and they lose. I prefer to say that I'm lecturing them.
Alright, let's go through some of these feats. Fought through hell multiple times, doesn't matter. Entrepreneur, strongest warrior, doesn't matter. We don't know anyone else who fucking scales. Survived and reacted to meteors, that's fine. That's in the Sin fight. Moves steel cubes weighing 400 tons. That's his best on-screen feat. Physically enhanced.
Wait, where did they get the calculation for being 400 tons?
I think they just took the size of it compared to the Doomslayer, and then I think they either assumed that it was made out of granite or maybe stone. I don't know how to do calculations like that. That's why if somebody wants to do those kind of calculations for me, there might be a little bit of
I'm just saying, if they can't provide the math for that, I'm going to say that's inapplicable.
Physically enhanced by the Divinity Machine, doesn't fucking matter. Crucible supplied Earth's energy for 8 months, doesn't fucking matter. Withstood temperatures hotter than the sun.
All right.
Okay, that comes from fighting it in. I think that comes from Vega with his reactors, I believe.
So that's not true. That's not true at all. Let me explain. So Vega's reactors are specifically reactors that are presented at absolute zero temperatures. The reason why they're so cold, and they had to be made so cold, is because the superconductors that he's attached to for Argent Energy Plasma have to cool themselves in order to offset the enormous amount of heat that the generators produce. They tell you the exact amount of heat it produces. It's like 1 million like megakelvin or whatever, which when you calculate it, and it's not 1 million megakelvin, it's like 15 megakelvin or something. Whatever it is, when you translate it directly...
Oh, I know what this is from.
What?
Oh, this is scaling the armor to the fucking laser they used.
Well, so the actual heat of that Vega temperature is specifically calculated to be about 1 million.
No. I just realized what the fucking feat is referring to.
What is it?
No, so you know that statement of how the Slayer suit can survive the temperature of one of their lasers that's like hotter than the sun?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's basically from that. Defeated the Mother of Demons. Aside from her resurrecting, she doesn't have any feats. The Khan Maker has no fucking feats. The Seraphim has no feats. The Icon of Sin. Very much depending on how you want to take 2's ending. When it comes to 2's ending, it's very not. It's very uncalculable. And when it comes to Eternal, it's kind of like shit. And then when it comes to Davos, unless you take all the statements for the Father and what's stated for Davos at face value without analyzing how he's creating dimensions, then Davos doesn't fucking matter either.
So, what is the laser thing that you're referring to? Do you have the scan for that so I can explain that? Because
you know it's the 16. You know how they talk about how the suit can even survive. It's like an arc laser or something that the UAC was using.
Doom 2016 arc laser.
It's a laser of some description.
Well, I need the statement, but whatever. The point is, they didn't provide the source for it. So it doesn't, they just said it and then just like left it on the cutting room floor without a source. So in that regard, they're consistent with the original Death Battle. They did a bad job of sourcing it then and did the bad job of sourcing it now. I would absolutely look it up if I knew what they were referring to, but they didn't provide the source for the claim. So that which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. But that kind of goes for like a number of these things as well, including the steel cube calculation and some of the other ones for Master Chiefs. Anyway, continue.
All right.
Good, sir.
The Slayer may technically be human, but his rage evolved him, turning him into something more.
And then he was literally blessed with immortality. Yeah, he can still technically die, but he no longer ages. So he's been killing demons for dozens, no hundreds, no thousands of years.
However, it turns out the Slayer
his context doesn't matter for the purposes of their presentation.
Of an ancient god.
Oh, hold on.
It was all part of a grander story. For Vega was actually the...
You guys care about this or no?
This doesn't matter. Unless they provide scans to falsify this, it does not matter.
Okay, the inevitable robot takeover is going to go way harder than I thought.
And Vega's ultimate enemy was the Dark Lord of Hell. He has many names: Davoth, Satan, the Devil, the true first being who created all of existence.
But he's the master of all demons, the most demon-y demon of demons. And
he was God.
Know what the Slayer does to demons. Say it with me now. Rip and
But I don't like how they don't even put a black box up when they're talking, like, because they basically said, like, and he made everything. Do you want to fucking elaborate?
Yeah. It kind of matters. When you're talking about, like, the scans regarding how the Father makes the cosmology. But since they're not going to mention that or bring it up, I guess it's fine. It's kind of weird.
I think Zim hit the nail on the head. I think that they briefly mentioned it, but they didn't do anything else because I don't think that their server could fucking decide whether or not.
No, so here's what I think happened. They came to the conclusion that they couldn't prove it, and they knew they couldn't prove it. They didn't believe it.
So
however, they figured that it wouldn't matter anyway if Doom still beats this, if the Slayer still beats Master Chief, and that's true. That's all you have to prove to like win over the internet is just have the person that people believe is going to win. It doesn't matter what the research is.
So, Jeremy, to clarify, regarding Davot created the world with technology. He did not do it himself, and he does it. And it's implied like one at a time, depending on how you want to take the language.
No, it's not implied. It's made clear he does it one at a time because they say that when he goes to places in the void, new realities spawn from where he landed. So he doesn't create the infinite multiverse all at once or with his thoughts, like people claim. He shows up to an area and then makes a reality.
It's one at a time, specifically because he's experimenting.
He also numbers the dimensions that he makes.
But don't worry. Doom fans will absolutely tell you that.
Yeah, they'll tell you that, but then they'll tell me listen, I don't think it's fair to give Master Chief an 11th dimensional scaling or like 2A vacuum pylon technology from the Forerunners. But if that's the level of argument we're dealing with, to be fair to Death Battle, they're not saying that, but like if Doomslayer fans are saying that, it is completely fair for me to scale Master Chief to a 2A cosmology off the Forerunners. Completely fair game.
All right. Let's continue.
At the same level
Wait,
of
why
genuine.
does the devil look like the Doomslayer? Oh, I think he wanted to take a form known for pure destruction. You see, Doom is in many ways a surreal postmodern story that is up to the
You
player's
people are asking the wrong
interpretation.
question. Why is this such a boring boss fight, and why is he in the fucking Hulkbuster?
That is a great question.
Quit your bitching.
Right.
A shit boss
Evil wannabe
fight.
Doom guy in a mech suit from hell is just badass.
The Doomslayer had fulfilled his purpose. He'd slain the Dark Lord, decimated demonkind, and trapped whatever scraps remained behind the closed gates of hell. And so, like an ancient weapon of prophecy, the Slayer was sealed away, ready to awaken at humanity's call when the fires open again.
And that was
All hail the Slayer, the Destroyer. He is more than a man. He is Doom.
Just in time for the season of grilling, the
I
spiciest
don't watch
supporting.
Hot Ones. What the fuck is this?
Control your mad.
All right, so we're just gonna skip the fight because we've already seen it. So let's
Yeah,
go into
okay.
the.
There are some things that they did in the fight that I'll talk about after they're done. Well, actually, I guess I could talk about them now. So they basically had the Doomslayer react to him using camouflage. That would not work. So they mentioned that the Doomslayer basically has fought things that are partially invisible. The reason I brought this up earlier is that it's not true invisibility. So you have to prove you're constantly invisible from the general electromagnetic spectrum, or at least the visual parameters of most people's eyes. Otherwise, you can argue they can still be seen. The way camouflage works in Halo is that they take a generator that literally bends light out of the electromagnetic spectrum around a target so that it appears to be invisible. And the Covenant have gotten so good at doing this that they can casually walk around at normal speeds without the ripple effect. It's actually only a gameplay mechanic that Covenant, or not Covenant, but like Spartans in like the multiplayer and in the game walk around with like shitty active camo units. They make it clear in the comics that there are different levels of camouflage in the Halo universe. There are 3 levels. There's poor camo, there's good camo, and there's nano camo, or as it's called, enhanced active camouflage. Poor camo is a retrograde dog water poor people's version camouflage that was taken by Oni to attempt to copy the Covenant's technology. That is the terrible active camouflage unit you see in Halo 4 and Halo Reach. That is humanity's pathetic attempt to mimic their technology. Then there's the good camo, which has no ripple effect at all. There's no evidence of you like even being there. The only way that you could see it is if you have like infrared and a bunch of other enhanced scanners. But they also don't make sound, and they don't produce scent either. So there would be no evidence of where like Master Chief would be. You wouldn't be able to see him. So it is inaccurate that once he turns invisible, the Slayer would be able to find him. That's wrong.
So if we just, I'll briefly go over my thoughts of the fight. I would like to say that they did a couple of things I liked. and a handful of things I didn't. The thing that I liked the best was this felt back and forth. While Chief felt like it was on the back foot, that's for the best choreography wise. But it didn't feel like somebody had their controller disconnected.
Yeah. I remember Equal Stats versus Dante and Doomslayer, and the reason it stayed to be Equal Stats was Doomslayer was so powerful. Yeah.
But when it comes to the bad, I was expecting a god tier soundtrack, and I didn't even notice if there was any fucking music.
There was music in this?
Exactly. I've heard the official soundtrack for like this fight, and it's whatever. It's not great.
Like that's a genuine question. Like I don't actually remember being music. Did I?
Yeah, that was my fault too. But there is music in it.
There is music.
Oh my god! I didn't even notice. The death scene does go hard. It does. Very fitting Doomslayer kill.
Okay,
you know the argument
equal stats versus matchup with Dante versus Doomslayer, and the reason it was said to be equal stats is that Doomslayer was too powerful. So the problem with a lot of people is they just heard Davlot created everything, and this is the problem with power scalers in general. It's not just specific people. A lot of us do this. A lot of people tend to make massive assumptions and will ignore direct contradictions because they want their characters to be strong. A lot of people do this. It's not any specific one person. It's like a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. I actually held the same position for about, I'd say most of the time after Eternal was out, that Doomslayer was 2A and had like infinite speed. And then when I went through the Doom games, I was like, that's not really true. When I started looking back at most of the context of the codexes, when I went and did the research myself, I realized, that's a lot of those things are taken out of context. There's not really any sort of like evidence for this position. So, I mean, anybody can make that mistake.
I might be in the minority here, but
say you're fucking
one of the things I wasn't particularly fond of when it came to this fight was the death shot. I thought the death shot was too tame.
Oh, he's like, more blood.
I told Mangler this after the death scene ended. I thought it was gonna be more brutal than that, to be honest with you.
So you have the same opinion as me that it was a little bit too tame.
Yeah.
You guys know the argument of the demons can resist the hottest temperature in the universe? That doesn't make sense when you find out the Slayer's flamethrower only has a temperature of like 5K Fahrenheit. So the argument actually comes from a statement about the UAC reporting the temperature of Argent plasma. And what they said specifically is that it went past any known theoretical limit. The problem is that this is the statement that they have in regards to them making the first plasma weapons. So we don't know what their theoretical limits are because this is only like 21st century technology, and we don't know the full extent of their infrastructure nor what they're capable of building. So if you argue they have any theoretical limit, you actually have to prove what that theoretical limit is. And the problem is that they built the first plasma rifle with it. They didn't have a plasma rifle prior to it. They made it with Argent energy. It's not like they made a normal plasma rifle that was like as hot as the sun or as hot as stars or things like that, or hotter than like volcanoes. And then they made like Argent plasma and they're like, oh, this now surpasses any theoretical limit. Like we have no comparative basis. They just throw that statement out of nowhere. So yeah, Pimp Demon, it's never really made sense. But go ahead.
And lo, our avenging angel has triumphed, for he is Doom. Amen.
There's a lot going on here, so...
Can you... So when they do shit like that, it's like, can you not wear your bias on your sleeve so fucking vehemently?
No.
Yeah, I don't think you need to do it that obviously.
Alright.
Like you can be enthusiastic.
So let's take a look at the 4 categories. Stats, experience, arsenal, and AI. They made a brand new random as fuck category just to give Chief a category. Oh, how nice of them.
Well, no, because this is the thing that I mentioned before. It's like, usually they don't just like lump stats as just stats. They usually break it down as like AP and shit, and they'll have like different things like side by side.
I can't believe Kyle called Zim daddy. When the fuck did that happen?
I thought Chief would take a win with him and Cortana creating a plan to kill him before Doom kills him. That's kind of what he was trying to do at the end when he turned invisible. and Cortana shut down his suit. But then the Doomslayer just predicted exactly where Master Chief was going to be off of nothing.
It's actually
Well,
not
whatever.
nothing, Angler. It's a random chance out of 1 in 3 billion, actually.
Let's break this down, starting with physical stats. Being a genetically enhanced super soldier, you'd probably expect the Master Chief to take the edge here.
Wrong! Chief can outrun a cheetah moving 66 miles per hour. The Slayer can outrun a rocket zooming.
Master Chief dodging Covenant beam rifles could place his reaction speed over Mach 10, though Doomslayer dodging meteors is roughly comparable or higher. Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but meteors don't tend to move at the speed of light, or...
Okay, so it is stated verbatim. Well, not verbatim.
No. They're saying that the meteors fall at Mach 10, which is wrong. Meteors fall faster than that in general, but that's wrong even for like Master Chief, who's dodging light.
So that's incorrect. That's been a headcanon position produced by Bungie Halo fans for like the longest time. So the official statements for what the beam rifle does in the guides is that it is an ionized hydrogen atom that is fired through a particle accelerator that then transfers it into a beam of light. And they call it a beam of light or a flash of light in the books. If you look up what a particle beam is and what the actual science for a particle beam is, it is literally an ionized particle being put through an accelerator. That is the exact scientific process, and it's also called a particle beam. So it would be moving at least 10% the speed of light. There's no 80 miles an hour, there's no Mach 10 here. It's relativistic. And Master Chief can outblitz those things like significantly far in advance. Also, there's feats of Kelly dodging sentinel beams, which are just light. Like they're not even like a particle beam where you can say that like they're a portion of light. They are just flat out light speed, and they're also coming from super sentinels, so they're amplified beyond the normal sentinel beam razor. So they might be faster than light.
Yeah, what was surprised that they didn't want to try and actually show statements for the actual speed of Master Chief, because they have this nasty habit, and we pointed this out especially when we went over Kratos Ashra, that when it comes to speed, they like to disregard vast differences for the favor of AP.
Yes. So just to make it fair here, for Death Battle or anyone watching, if you want to know what my actual sources are, I literally have them like, here, hang on one sec. Oh, so for the laser, for the beam rifle feats for Master Chief, they come from Palace Hotel. For the beam rifle feats for Fred, who is also part of his blue team, they come, Palace Hotel is a short story in Halo Evolutions. For Fred, they come from Halo Last Light, or like Lost Light, which is the first book in the Ferrets. And for Kelly, the Sentinel Beam dodging feat comes from Ghosts of Onyx. So those are the direct examples of where they come from. They showed examples from the comics. There are also official guides which tell you the exact scientific process for how quick, or how, not how quick, rather how the actual beam rifle technology works. And then all of those books, including the one I mentioned, talk about what the beam rifle fires like. They call it light or a flash of light. I've heard people try to argue that they're like super velocity speeds, and that basically means it's only like 3,000 miles an hour. But then that's not even entirely accurate, because particle beams move significantly faster than that.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Now, before we move on, when it comes to speeds this low, like 66 miles per hour, compared to what they said to Master Chief, those speeds don't really fucking matter if you can move like slightly faster in that regard.
Now,
if you want the same as when they do other fights and somebody is several times the speed of light faster than the other person.
If you want to say that Master Chief cannot cross like 60 meters at the speed of light, and he can only move in close quarters, sure, okay, then he should never get hit. He should never get hit at mid-range or close range, and that entire fight was in a small room. There's no reason, like, Doomslayer should be a fucking statue. he should never be able to even touch Chief under any circumstances.
So not according to Death Battle.
Not according to Death Battle. Slower than rockets. Wait a minute. So how do people react to CRT monitors since they're light speed and they're faster than latency? Aren't they sample and hold? So are we 4D? You don't actually react to the light, though. You're not reacting to any, like, okay, so when you see a laser on the wall, you haven't reacted to the actual edge of the beam. It's already hit the wall. It's hit faster than your brain can even process the particles on the edge of the beam. Not that you can even perceive those, because you can't even see things at the cellular level. So, no.
Watch me.
You are not 4D.
All right. So yeah, just to clarify, like a lot of other Death Battles, this is one where even with their own numbers, there's a very strong case that Chief is faster. They say Doom Guy can dodge meteors, but I don't know if they believe that one. I don't know. Why?
I find the
why
rocket
mentioning
stuff
the laser
questionable.
then? What?
I find the rocket stuff to be questionable given what I mentioned about his physical prowess. He shouldn't be that much stronger than that of a normal human.
This is the thing that shits me. It's like, it's in the name. Beam rifle. Where the fuck did they get Mach 10? Where did the Mach 10 come from?
The Mach 10 is in reference to, I think, another feat they gave Chief. So what they're arguing is, you could argue the beam rifle puts Chief over Mach 10 reaction, which would be combat-wise to some extent as well. But they're saying that Doomslayer dodging meteors is comparable or higher. But Death Battle...
You can't say that he's dodging a beam rifle, but then put a calculation up for something vastly worse.
So the Mach 10 is considered equal to 7,410 miles per hour. Mach is the ratio of object speed to speed. Yeah, I don't know where they got the idea of 7,410 miles an hour. Where did they get that calculation from?
No clue.
Where?
This is one of those things that shits me, because like they'll usually go into numbers on how they got the other person's number, but they didn't do that for this one. So something feels funky here.
Go back to him just a little bit.
Zooming almost.
All right.
How did they get to 552? Is that from that haste upgrade?
Just back up and let them talk, and then you'll see.
For Soldier,
there you go.
Probably expect the Master Chief to take the edge here.
Wrong! Chief can outrun a cheetah moving 66 miles per hour. The Slayer can outrun a rocket zooming almost 8 times faster.
Master Chief can flip the 200-ton elephant platform. The Slayer can...
So when it comes to rocket launchers, not all rocket launchers fire at the same velocity.
They don't actually have a, I don't believe they actually have a rocket velocity for that. They're just calculating how fast he'd be moving in the units of the game in comparison to where he moved past the rocket, which is an assumption. Because you can only do that in gameplay, so you can't make a proper metric for saying, well, I moved 20 meters in the game past the rocket, therefore I'm X this speed. You don't know that.
Because the best you can do is find out how fast the rocket flies, and then just say vaguely over that.
Yeah, you can say he's vaguely over that. The problem is it's not a scripted gameplay sequence. You're not required to dodge your own rockets at one point. So you're assuming that he's going around doing this because he can do it in the game, but like not really.
All right. Thank you, Pimp Team, for saying you like the stream. Is that all you guys have to say? Can we move forward?
Yeah. We can move forward to the
8 times faster.
Master Chief can flip the 200-ton elephant platform. The Slayer can fling around these massive steel cubes, which each measure to over 400 tons.
He can take...
So...
Yeah, that's an assumption. That is an assumption. I think that is.
Assuming the material, but like, are you really telling me the elephant doesn't weigh over 300 tons? That doesn't sound right.
That also doesn't matter because, okay, so mass is true. However, the problem is also durability. Because the Mjolnir armor, as I said before, is made of titanium A. You want to know what the Scorpion tank is also made out of? Titanium A? Titanium A. Okay, so do you know what they do with that material? I think you've heard this one before. They put it on starships. It's literally titanium that has been strengthened on the molecular level. So it isn't normal titanium. It is amplified way beyond building structures. So you actually have to provide feats to show how strong it is, and other statements. What the statements in the series point out, in Halo Retribution, I believe, which is the second novel of Halo, the Halo Ferrets trilogy, it is stated directly that that a certain blast, the statement that's provided is actually about a semi-powered infiltration armor taking an explosion vastly more powerful than a grenade. And this person said, like, oh, that explosion was really big. It was almost as much as a grenade. It's like, it certainly was. It wasn't like an artillery strike. If that had been an artillery strike, the only people that would have been alive in this room would be the ones wearing Mjolnir armor. So they make it clear that even if you were to fire an artillery strike at Master Chief, it would do fuck all to him. And that just is stated to be the Mjolnir armor, not like the shields of the Mjolnir armor, not the armor lock of the Mjolnir armor, not Mark 5 or Mark 6 or Mark 7 with exoskeleton, just Mjolnir armor, which could mean Mark 4. And as I've mentioned before, each of the grades is a fraction of the one below it and above it. For context, to give you some feats, the fuel rods from the Hunters, they can blow off and vaporize entire portions of the Mark IV. Because that's what happens to James in the Fall of Reach. He gets his arm blown off of the forearm. In the Mark V suits, Master Chief and every single member of his blue team has been shot in the chest with those fuel rods, and the most they've done is damage their shields and cause some like bleeding on the inside of their body. But their armor is completely intact and their shields regenerated afterwards. So the shot went from blowing off a piece of the armor to just damaging the energy shields and not damaging any of the armor. And then in the Mark 6, Master Chief took 6 of those fuel rod shots to the face, point blank, and then had a plasma grenade explode in his face, point blank, got up and he was fine. In the Halo Comics Uprising. And that was the Mark 6 armor. So the difference between each of these grades is an order of magnitude or greater. And it starts at the level of an artillery strike.
All right.
I'm just pointing that out. Like, they're mentioning lifting strength, like that matters. The Scorpion tank, like, what matters is not proving that you can lift it, it's proving you can destroy it. And his weapons can destroy something like that, but go ahead.
Alright, let's continue.
With his bare hands, so it adds up. If this came down to a fistfight, he'd just punch Chief's head off.
Stats may go to the Doomslayer, but...
And for the reasons I just mentioned, that wouldn't work because he wouldn't have the AP to get through that. If you argue he can output 400 tons of force, I have statements that something thousands of tons can't even get through a Mjolnir armor suit that's Mark IV for a 15-year-old Master Chief.
One trick the Slayer can't beat, his AI.
Yeah, Vega may be God repackaged as Siri, but Cortana is clearly the more
Chief, just to give Chief a win in the category.
dangerous computer pal.
Cortana was designed for combat encounters and battle planning. Vega oversaw a mining facility. Granted, Vega's nothing to laugh at, but Cortana's kind of famous for hacking ancient, all-knowing technology on multiple occasions. And even if you want to...
Given Slayer's often rely on AI-operated tech and much of his arsenal's arcane origin, Cortana's effect on the Slayer's effectiveness will be negligible. Wouldn't?
No.
Cortana shut down his most powerful weapons because they're all hyper-based technology.
They are hyper-based technology, and you can't argue that being arcane means anything. So arcane and having stuff be made of supernatural shit only matters as far as like your scientific understanding. So to quote that one famous author, any sufficiently advanced science is indistinguishable from magic. And Doom is a good example of that because the UAC has literally falsified that magic system and turned it into a generic energy source. So by the time it's converted into its Argent form and is being used as a weapon, Cortana would have already been able to falsify it. But she can already falsify most of like the Forerunner tech, which involves creating like matter and life from like nothing. So you kind of have to prove that Argent energy would be something that would be beyond her capabilities. And she can comprehend things like the domain and slip space, which are way beyond the cosmology of something like Doom. Also, to say that the effect on Slayer's effectiveness would be negligible, this is not true. She could just hack his armor and just shut him down. She has Well, go ahead.
Well, no, someone just asked that question. Can Cortana hack his armor and shut it down like Samuel did?
Yes, she can hack. She could hack his armor after she did a system scan of that. That is entirely possible for him to do. It's also worth noting that they gave Master Chief access to the what's it called? The fucking
The weapon?
not the what's the I mentioned this before. It was the Halo 3 piece of equipment, the power drain. So the power drain can shut down, can EMP suits. Not only does Doomslayer not have resistance to EMPs, it can EMP Spartans as well as like Covenant technology. They make it clear that Spartans are not only shielded from EMPs, they're shielded from the EMPs of Guardians, which can like wipe out a planet's worth of like infrastructure and technology, and they're unaffected by those EMPs. But they can be hit by the power drains.
I've got a question. Wouldn't there be the possible scenario, instead of just turning his suit off, to be a little bit more subtle, she could either have the Doomslayer's bullet count or his radar not show where Chief is, or like falsify some information so it still looks like Vega is in charge?
She could change his entire HUD system. She could hack Vega and literally make him see things that aren't actually there. Because we see, based on some of the examples of like there's various feats and novels from like the Ferret's trilogy and things post Halo 5 that shows what happens when the AIs of humanity turn against humanity. They can basically do anything with any level of technology. They actually one of the stories that they did. The AIs took over a Spartan Mjolnir suit and literally controlled his entire mind like a fucking puppet, and sent him back through all of the various training facilities, killing other Spartans, turning him into like a weapon of their choice. So they're fully capable of shutting down your suit and like turning you into a tool for their disposal. They could also just shut off certain things in your helmet. There have been AIs that have been able to infiltrate Spartan armors before and have hidden in their armors without Spartans being aware of it, because they can just hide in there. They don't have to make a sound. They don't mess with any programming in the suit. They can just be very subtle. So they can do anything to your suit. And as far as an AI is concerned, I would also like to point out the AI perceives time at a faster rate than you do. There are statements in the books, I believe in all of the Kilo 5 books, with a black box that basically a human heartbeat is considered an eternity for an AI. That they basically perceive entire lifetimes in the time that it takes for you to draw a breath. So they have so much time to make a decision and perceive things that it wouldn't even matter if you thought Master Chief was slower. Cortana would just activate his shields or any defensive mechanic that he has to keep him alive. And you would also argue Master Chief's luck would allow Cortana to do that as well. Like, there's so many ways you can argue that Master Chief would never get hit by his weapons or would shut down his suit. I'm not even getting into the stuff she's hacked with a domain. This is the same AI logic they use for Red versus Blue. Doomslayer got to get his security patches. They're all as bad as Windows. True. I would also like to point out that for anyone who might...
No, Melissa.
Yeah, one last thing on Cortana before we move on. For anyone who might be not convinced that she can hack arcane technology or things from other universes or other dimensions, so there is a statement from one of the comics. This is actually from the Halo Wars comic. When Serena, the AI, the third generational AI from Halo Wars, is doing a quantum slip space calculation for whenever the UNSC ships have to jump into slip space. What she states is that every time they jump into slip space, she needs to do a full quantum mechanics slip space calculation of their entire space-time continuum, and she needs to do it 34 quadrillion times a second. Every second.
You can look up the time in Norway, but you can't look up the time in Sydney. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yes. So
I knew that'd get you.
Yeah. So 34 quadrillion times a second for every single second that they are in slip space, most travels in slip space take anywhere from weeks to months. And they can do this without their AI shutting down or even being remotely inconvenienced.
Hold on. I know you're in the middle of your speech, but I actually do want to point out I have had Sydney on my clock app since Kyle told me like 2 years ago to put it on there. I just never check it.
He's like, I took the effort.
You did both of you. Kyle, what time will it be for us? I don't fucking know. Use your world clock.
Actually, no. I calculated what the difference was, and I have the number on
your phone.
I literally have the profile. I literally have a number under your profile. I know what time zone you're in.
Right.
You know what's even quicker? Opening up the clock app and going to the world clock.
No, it's on my clock app right there. Like, I don't even have to go to the world clock. It says Sydney, 17 hours tomorrow, 3 o'clock where you're at.
So the point that I was making.
Would you fuckers ever try and use it? Oh, Kyle, you're running a bit late. Oh, Kyle, what time do you get home again?
I'm not. We weren't asking that. We had already started. That doesn't matter anymore. So what I was saying was that if Cortana and literally every single AI in the entire UNSC empire can all calculate the conditions needed to recreate the fucking space-time continuum around the universe 34 quadrillion times a second, what makes you think they can't falsify some servos in Slayer's armor if the UAC could do it? And they barely even developed plasma rifles. That seems wild.
Oh.
Her technology is way beyond anything like the Slayer's armor has ever been made to be. Anyway, that's all I had to say about her. In fact, that's how the retcon happened, where everything just happened in season 14, 15, 0, etc. Were all just simulations made by Church. Yeah, well, Red vs. Blue takes a lot of things from Halo's lore, because Red vs. Blue actually had to go back and read some of the books. Mjolnir armor, second best humanity armor. I mean, there's a lot of good humanity armors.
Fuck, when we can make the argument that Carolina and Tex would fucking take the Doomslayer. You know what? I'm going to say it right now. Washington could take the Doomslayer.
Damn.
Well, hang on a minute. Does Doomslayer get a car?
Anyways, Melissa, I haven't seen that video.
As long as Washington doesn't get caboose, he's fine.
Wait. Actually, now that I think about it, they mentioned that Master Chief got all the vehicles. I didn't see a single vehicle.
All right.
I didn't see a single vehicle that entire time.
Single vehicle. Must not be in the budget for the fight.
Wait, I didn't see plasma weapons either.
Nope.
Other than energy sword.
Instead, she's still a copy of Cortana.
And when it comes to experience, Chief Fleckley has more consistent training. Becoming a super soldier and one-man army is basically all he did since he was a child.
The Slayer may seem like a rampaging bull consumed by rage, and he is, but he was also a Marine and trained with the Night Sentinels.
And since time in hell gets wacky, he fought demons non-stop for
We
thousands of
don't
years.
know what kind of training he had, though. That's the problem. Master Chief we can quantify. The Doomslayer, we get vague statements.
I mean, if we want to say the 1,000... Get rid of your ads.
No, I guess I accidentally clicked on the fucking ad down here.
Oh, I was wondering what that was. It's just like, what just came up? Why is Hot Ones and Corn coming up?
So saying he fought Doomslayer for nonstop for thousands of years, or Dooms nonstop for thousands, demons nonstop for thousands of years. Okay, but what training are those Doom demons even doing? Are they just throwing hands at him like they are in all the games, or are they actually challenging him to an equal fist fight of martial skill and combat capability? Oh, that's right. They're just bum rushing him, and he's blowing them away with firearms. So yeah, if you spent thousands of years doing that, you'd be really good at that type of combat. But why would you be skilled in fighting a guy that's a master of 5 or more different martial arts and has fought an entire alien race that's been trained from the time they can walk? in like every form of combat. Like you're going to tell me that like killing demons is going to translate to a completely different type of combat? What if Master Chief decides to use stealth or like run around the battlefield with no sound at all and Cortana hacks your armor to make your visor blind? How is your killing demons going to counter that strategy? Or like 100 other strategies that they could come up with? How would his experience help in this circumstance? And like Kyle said, you can't even quantify that. That's also not even true. So saying hell's unlimited by time, dimensions, and space, there's literally statements in the game that it still takes humans years and sometimes decades, like an untold amount of time, to turn into demons. So like, if it takes normal humans that long to go into that process, like, there's still some kind of time span in hell that exists. He couldn't have been there that long. Even by their own admission, they say it's thousands of years. And the only one he fights that's worth his salt is just the Marauder, which only happens during Eternal. Mango, do you agree with Meta versus Carolina Death Battle? I don't remember that results.
All right.
You're saying Church can dog walk the Doomslayer? He could hack his armor. Sure.
Given the sheer variety of enemies, battles, and wars Master Chief has experienced, it's a tough call, but we think fighting demons for so long tips the scale to the Slayer.
I would also like to point out that Doomslayer, I think, is like in hibernation for a good portion of that time as well. I don't think he's just actively fighting nonstop.
He's in the coffin for a while as well.
And it matters much because we're on to the last and best category, arsenals. From weapons to power-ups, both Chief and the Slayer had a ton.
So just to be clear,
let's see what they have to say.
Power-ups should never be included in a matchup like this. Just being clear.
Of stuff they could bring into the battle.
Both had means to turn invisible or shield.
Theoretically, a Slayer's energy shields, vulnerability, power-up, and saving throw rune could counter Forerunner weapons that also theoretically apply antimatter destruction. What the fuck is this theoretical bullshit?
No, there's no evidence for that. That is entirely a position that was thrown out there because they know fully well that antimatter is one of Master Chief's best win cons. So there is no evidence that his energy shields can block antimatter or any forms of deconstruction on the atomic level or below.
The Doomslayer has never come across or been hit by anything that has deconstruction.
Invulnerability doesn't, I said before, invulnerability does not work that way. It's just an extra layer of armor on the skin. You have to prove it can stop atomic level Durinag. And saving throw only applies when he's near death. If I hit him with an attack that one-shots him, that would bypass saving throw because the single attack would just be killing him. Also, counter Forerunner weapons. How about Covenant weapons? Because you haven't proven that he can resist plasma that's at least as hot, or if not hotter, than the sun. So this is something that I mentioned I was going to bring up earlier, and I'm going to bring it up now. So Covenant plasma is not actually just made from plasma that you would have in nuclear reactions. What the Covenant does, according to the guidebooks, especially to the Halo Encyclopedia, the most recent one, it's made in 2022, they tell you that Covenant plasma is made in super generators produced through massive nuclear reactions on a huge scale. And then what the Covenant does is that they use giant gravity generators to bind that super nuclear explosion in place, also with the form of magnetics. And then they use that to power their starships. They take that same energy and they put it into their small-scale weapons. So you are literally not only dealing with normal plasma, you are dealing with massively superheated plasma from a nuclear reaction. Base nuclear bombs get into the 15 million degrees Celsius range. A superheated one would be many, many, many times hotter than that. So it would not only be in the range of the sun, which ranges from 5,500 degrees Celsius to about 20 million, based on certain solar flares of 24 million, to possibly higher than that. And the energy sword is also stated to be superheated plasma. The energy sword can cut through the Mjolnir suit, which can block all forms of plasma consistently. So even if you could block Covenant plasma, which they never actually give Master Chief plasma weapons in the fight. You'll check that. They only give him the energy sword. Even if you could block that, which you have to prove you can block that level of plasma, you would not be able to survive the heat of the energy sword. Because it can go through things that can consistently no-sell that plasma. Even wraith shots and plasma grenades to the face. If you can no-sell that does not mean you will survive the energy sword.
All right.
Yeah, so there's no theoretical antimatter destruction, and even if you could survive antimatter K, you still need to survive normal matter manipulation. Like there's 3 different types of ammunition counts for the Forerunner weapons. So you have to survive smart matter, ionized particles, and negative particles. So good luck proving you can survive all of them, and plasma, and all the other bullshit.
All right.
Themselves from damage. Both had suits that could withstand extreme heat and intense hits, and both had so many weapons.
Technically, Master Chief had a greater variety of weaponry, but when it comes to sheer destructive power, the Slayer had him beat. The Unmaker can match the Spartan laser's light speed without having to worry about charging up, and nothing on Chief's belt can match the raw power of the BFG.
Still, Master Chief.
That's not true. So that's no. The BFG does not have any raw kinetic force. The only time it has kinetic force is when it's put inside of the cannon, which puts it on an accelerator ring and fires it up through like magnetic propulsion. But at that point, you're applying a different type of physics and a different type of force to give it new properties that it didn't have before. It's the same. Like if you took an energy projectile and put it on a sling and fired it at high speeds, you have now converted it into a ballistic. It still has the energy projectiles, but they make this clear even in the game that the pistol has like a compactified, the UEG plasma pistol has a compactified like part of its sidearm that is made. So like the slug is condensed, is highly condensed into like an energy ball and fired at high velocity. So as a result of that, it gains ballistic properties. It's considered to be almost identical to a ballistic round, but the plasma weapon does not have that. The plasma weapon doesn't hit you with kinetic force. The pistol does, despite the fact that both of them use the same energy source. So, no, the BFG does not have more raw power than a nuke. It doesn't really have any raw power. It just has, like, wattage and, like, radioactivity.
All right.
Also, his normal guns don't have that impressive of feat, but go ahead.
All right, let's take a look.
Use a hardlight shield to survive a point-blank 30 megaton bomb. However, Cortana was siphoning power from the Forerunner ship they were on to make that shield. So it was a very specific circumstance not easily replicated. And it's clear that
hang on, you just talked over the whole thing. Go back.
What did you want to talk about this?
FG.
Yeah.
Still, Master Chief did use a hardlight shield to survive a point-blank 30 megaton bomb. However, Cortana was siphoning power from the Forerunner ship they were on to make that shield. So it was a very specific circumstance not easily replicated. And it's clear that without the
keep
shield,
going.
he would have been obliterated.
Even if he could replicate it, Doom Guy had the weaponry to break through.
No, I'll get to the Crucible in a second, but that's not actually true. That's a specific circumstance. So Master Chief has a hardlight shield accessory that he can use, and his suits are re-engineered and reverse engineered from the Forerunners. So she's done this before where she's actually pulled power from his suits and forced an overcharge. She can do that. She can force maximum capacity from the nuclear reactors to make his normal shields as durable as our armor lock. They've done this before in the games. And they've done this in Halo 1 when he's also had to when she's had to convert the shield system inside of his unit to make him trigger an overcharge in order to overload certain generators in the 2 Betrayals maps. She can do this with any of his suits. You understand? She can do anything with the technology in the suit. She can amplify it, power it down, whatever. Like, granted, it comes at the cost of the energy, but she's willing to overclock it. If she thinks Master Chief is in danger, she will absolutely overclock that shit. If she thinks it'll keep him alive. But she wouldn't even need to do that because he has a hard light shield accessory that he has available to him. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go through the Crucible.
Hang on 1 second.
Also, the BFG is not stronger than the nuke. It has no feats of providing that level of kinetic or thermal or explosive energy. Argent energy does not work that way. It just definitively does not. And half the reason that the Doomslayer can survive Argent energy attacks is because his suit is literally designed to have little servos and what's it called? What's the term? Siphoners on his chest and parts of his hands that absorb Argent energy. So when imps throw like fireballs and things at him and like all the other demons throw like projectiles of Argent energy, his suit is just absorbing that. So like they're throwing an energy source at him that his suit is designed to absorb. That's why he doesn't really take any damage. That would also be another reason why he would be unstoppable, because your main energy source is fucking useless against him. It's like basically saying that the Predapath from Naruto outscales everyone in terms of durability, because he's surviving all these fights with other ninja, when the Predapath is literally supposed to absorb chakra. He's the anti-meta to his own verse. Like, of course. It's also kind of funny because the Predapath is like physically very weak.
I think it's more funny that the human path is a ginger who steals souls.
I mean, technically they all have orange hair, so I don't know if that's fair.
It is now.
I'm surprised Zim didn't get a pop out of that.
2007 anime Dante should win due to having better feet.
I
Oh.
was more stunned by the message you sent to the group chat than what you were saying, because I just saw the message.
Can't the Marauder shield block? The Marauder shield can block like everything. Also, another thing, there's multiple baseline enemies in the game, like the infested soldiers, that just have like regular energy shields that don't have any sort of like statements or properties of being impressive. They can block most shots from the Doomslayer. But if we're going to say that's not fair for gameplay, I mean, we're going to have to go through like a lot of the other Slayer feats as well. Anyway, Crucible time. Let's see what they have to say.
Take the Crucible. Remember, the Crucible holds power equivalent to 157 trillion kilowatt hours, which directly converts to 90 gigatons of TNT. Even if you divided that power between the Crucible's 3 charges, a single swing from that sword is, at minimum, 1,000 times more powerful than that nuke. The Slayer gets the final arsenal as he...
And there's a mistake. And there's a mistake I mentioned earlier. The sword does not swing with that much force, and neither does the Doomslayer. Just because it can hold that amount doesn't mean shit. If it could fire that amount, that would be one thing. That would be a completely different story. But being able to hold that much energy means jack crap.
It also is problematic for the reasons I've mentioned again. They make it clear in the game, certain plasma weapons have to be modified to inflict kinetic damage. So you have to prove the Crucible can actually do kinetic damage equivalent to its energy output. That's just the total amount of energy it's produced over the course of that year that it had. Which, granted, I'm not saying that the suit doesn't have that, though the calculations and how they came to believing that required a lot of assumptions. The problem is that you can't convert that to raw AP because you have no technology or evidence in the verse that proves the Crucible converted that energy source into raw power in the form of kinetic energy. Because plasma and in the form of Argent energy doesn't work like that. And pure Argent energy doesn't work like that. So you have to provide evidence that it outputs that level of kinetic energy.
Mangler,
also
just saying Doomslayer just Auster from Black Clover.
I guess. I don't know who that is. Also, 30 gigatons is fucking nothing.
God, no.
30 gigatons
actually has good scaling and good powers.
30 gigatons is nothing for the reasons I already explained. A 35 megaton bomb in Halo blew up a fucking continent, which is way larger than even the blast that the BFG 10,000 did. So I don't think it really matters. Like if we're gonna scale similar energy style stuff, nuclear energy in Halo takes a crap on Argent energy in Doom. It's not even close.
I do question why they didn't bother to actually go with what's shown on screen versus what's stated.
I go with both because I try to compile as much information as I can to make a consistent interpretation. But that's the conclusion you would come to if you did.
He just had the better odds of actually taking the Chief down.
As much as Chief tried to master the situation, he was doomed. Slay King!
They never actually explained how he saw him while he was invisible.
Next time...
Well, no, because I
just want to point that out.
They just argued the position simply that, he fought other people who were camouflaged, so he'd be able to see Master Chief from camouflage.
Yes, I know, and I explained why that was wrong. I'm just saying that they never addressed it. They just had it happen, and then it was like, oh, we'll be slick enough to get away with it.
Even though I disagree with the matchup, because even in general, I don't think Doomguy's speed is all that impressive. Like the rocket feat's one of those ones where like it's a little weird because we know he can't do things from that game anymore. So it's kind of like, do we give speed as well? But
Well, go ahead.
I would have preferred it if they would have just been honest in their verdict and given everything to Doomguy. I think having a category just so Chief gets a consolation prize, I think was stupid.
I agree. I think if you're gonna commit that hard to basically saying one character wins for pretty disingenuous reasons and like really bad research, go balls to the walls, go balls deep. Hard commit to all of it. Do not half-ass it. You either do it all right or you do it all wrong. There's no in between here.
Yes. But all right, so you guys have any more final thoughts on the situation?
I mean, besides from the fact of like it was better than the last 3D fight, and I wish that they actually had good music. Other than that, the choreography was fine. I thought the fight was fun. I wish the death was a little bit more hardcore. Other than that, it's Death Battle. What do you want me to say? Their research was dog water.
Damn. But yeah, no, he's right. At the end of the day, it wasn't really all that Marine Revelation space. It is fun. Nice. Yeah, it was just kind of what I expected. I'm surprised it didn't go with the cosmic arguments for Doomslayer. But to clarify again, like we stated earlier, Doomslayer's cosmic level arguments are incorrect because the feats, quote unquote, given to Doomslayer to do that are inaccurate. So keep that in mind.
Well, actually, something we didn't bring up, just in case somebody wants to try and say if he could do it. It wouldn't matter. The Doomslayer doesn't fight Davos at full power. Davos is not at full power when he fights him.
He's in a mech suit, built from his technology.
Well, he's also had part of his power siphoned away and taken away by the Father, and some of that power put into the Doomslayer. So he was never going to be 100%.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? If they wanted to give like a better speed feat for the Doom Slayer, the fastest speed feat that you can give him is like it's like a high hypersonic feat from the Doom 1 guidebook, because there are statements that the cacodemons, the flying like mouth demons that shoot like little projectiles at you, the projectiles they shoot at you are confirmed to be ball lightning. So you would just calculate however fast a person would need to move to outspeed ball lightning, and you could technically give that to Doomguy.
Hold on a sec. So did they literally just say the Doomslayer won? Amen?
Yeah.
Can you people not wear your fucking bias on your sleeve, please?
No.
I'm just saying, if they wanted him to be faster than the Master Chief's, cheetah running feats, they should have just not mentioned the beam rifle stuff at all and just said, look, he can dodge ball lightning. Here you go.
All right.
Blitz.
But now the question on everyone's mind from all the things you guys have said before we end this stream. Doomslayer versus Kratos, who actually wins?
Kratos.
Yeah, I was gonna say
way faster, way stronger. I used to think Slayer beats him. No, Slayer gets fucking murked by him.
Kratos actually has. He doesn't have many, but at least he has hacks.
He has hacks, and Slayer unfortunately does not resist those hacks.
All right, chat.
Other than that, I don't think any of us have anything to say about the next matchup. The next matchup is like, we'll watch it, but it's also going to be one of those ones where it's like, we don't know a lick about dick about anything about. I've seen Gurren Lagann once, and I know Kyle Rayner from like passing comments of people.
I don't know either of these things.
The furthest thing, the most I know about him, the most I know about him is that he's a White Lantern. And I said the same thing as everyone else did the first time they heard that. What the fuck is a White Lantern? I thought there was only green and yellow.
There's one color of each of the rainbow.
I mean,
And then white, as always, is the superior one.
he's not wrong.
So what Mangler is saying is white makes right.
In DC, it does.
I would like to point out, even within DC's cosmology, if you are so entwined with your specific emotion, you are stronger than a White Lantern. Because I remember the first Lantern beats the shit out of Kyle Rayner, even in the White Lantern state. And then Sinestro shows up with the full might of the Sinestro power, or like the fear, and he beats the shit out of the first Lantern. Good shit. But yeah, so that's about it. I'll talk to since Kyle name dropped him earlier, I will talk to Cyber to see if he knows enough about the matchup to join me for the next one. As far as I know, Mangler doesn't care about joining the next one for Death Battle, and Kyle might show up or might not, but again, we're not really invested in this one at all. The next one's gonna be Kyle Rayner versus the other guy.
Simon the Digger from Gurren Lagann. Yeah, I don't know anything about either of these.
Well, no, not to be that cunt, but because of a weird pronunciation, it's actually Simone. Like, where does he come from? Fucking Sweden.
Simone.
But
yeah, it's Simone the Digger versus Kyle Rayner.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know who's gonna win, but I'm gonna say go Kyle because fucking Kyle.
I'm gonna say Simone's gonna.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Can we get Nguyen just to do like a super quick fucking like drawing of Kyle Rayner? He's just holding the white monster.
No, even better. He's got Balrog's head. He's got the white
and I'm holding a white monster.
Bruh. But yeah. So at any rate, that's gonna be it for today's stream. Kyle, are you streaming later today, or are you not streaming because we did this today?
No, I'm definitely streaming.
Okay, so Kyle will be streaming later today on his channel. I might join him later, but I do have to get some more recording done because recording has taken a lot longer than I would have liked on the video I'm working on. I'm sure Kyle can relate to that. So, with that said, thank you guys for your time as always. Have a nice day. I'll see you guys on the next streamer video. Take care, everybody.